Hello, my little ninjas. My name's Mike. This is my YouTube page, Mox News. And welcome to your 420th episode of Mox Talks. 420th episode of Mox Talks. 420th episode of Mox Talks. You think it would get easier for that to roll off the tongue? One word would get easier than another word, and then it would just like happen. But it's just like... It's been a busy day. Actually, it rained all day, and since it's raining and it's cold, and it just can't get the garden going outside. So, and I was really glad today when I was outside, and it was just dumping cold rain. I was like, man, I'm glad I don't have plants out here yet. So I went inside and I worked in the tent in the garden. Raining, and then I come out to get ready to do a show, and the sun's out. I'm like, dude, so I didn't get Rufus out for a walk. So I was like, all right, buddy, let's go. And we headed out to go get a walk, and we headed out to go get a walk, and because he's the priority, you know. I was like, oh, I'm not gonna do a show. I gotta get Rufus a walk. I didn't know how long, honestly, we were gonna walk for. So can you guys hear me? Okay. Are you guys out there? Hello? So I was walking, and then Rufus wanted to come home. He got a big poop and wanted to come home. So we came home. We worked out the show. Got a couple videos ready. And, well, I've been capturing video all day. But it's a matter of editing, rendering them, and such. So I got a few videos ready. I don't have my tea here. I don't have a bong hit ready to go. I need to give Rufus a cup of crunchies. So I'm going to start this off with free speech. Okay, we're going to talk about free speech. I'm going to start this off with free speech. I think it's a really good place to start. And we'll talk more. And this is directly linked to my own life. So I'll be right back. We're going to talk about free speech today, and if it's actually dangerous, because people in the media, politicians, are and emperors are acting as if free speech, our most basic, valuable right, free speech, is somehow dangerous. I think that's what tyrants do. But we'll talk about that momentarily. I will be right back. I'm going to get my tea, give Rufus some crunchies, and get a bong hit ready. Get a bong hit ready, people. We're going to be back and have a test on that, right? Thanks so much for tuning in. Be right back.
Well, the NBA is not being shy in terms of promoting social justice issues it says it believes in, but critics say it is now quiet as can be when it comes to doing business with some of the world's worst human rights abusers. A few years ago, the league took the All-Star game out of Charlotte over the so-called bathroom bill, their opposition to it. So naturally, eyebrows are being raised now over a decision to hold preseason games in the United Arab Emirates, specifically in Abu Dhabi, where being gay or transgender today is punishable by imprisonment and even death in some instances. Let's bring in former Celtics center, basketball pro star Enes Kanter Freedom. Enes, thanks so much for joining us. So they pulled out of Charlotte in 2016. Now they say they're going to move forward with these Abu Dhabi games. There is an inherent conflict embedded in this decision.
First of all, thank you for having me. And second, I want to know, why do they choose UAE for preseason games? Is it really all about money? I want to ask, if Russia or North Korea offers you enough money, would you still consider to go there and play preseason games too, Adam Silver? Where are your principles? It is important to know that. What happened to pulling out of, Charlotte All-Star games because of a bathroom bill? And, members of the LGBTQ community is being killed in UAE. So is that okay with you? So people needs to understand that is hypocrisy, and this is literally shows NBA's true color.
Take a look at this, Enes. The NBA says, while we recognize the NBA cannot choose the law in every city, state, and country in which we do business, we do not believe we can successfully host our All-Star festivities in Charlotte in the climate created by HB2. This is the so-called bathroom bill. you mentioned a moment ago, they say that it discriminated against LGBTQ people. So they can choose to pull out of a city because they disagree with the law here in the United States, but overseas, it is, excuse the pun, open season. The national government's policies be damned.
Moral matters until money is involved. And like I said again, this is literally shows NBA's true color. And they couldn't care less about the players or staff, or as long as the league image is profitable. So I think people need to finally understand the hypocrisy. And for NBA, it is all about how can I make more money? How can I make more business? They don't really care about the values or principles or morals, and they're mad. They're mad because someone finally, one of the players finally is exposing them. But I think we need to keep, hold them accountable because that's exactly hypocrisy.
Do you think, when it comes to you personally, you could have a place in the NBA at any point in the future, or is that done?
That's my goal. I'm 29 years old, but they are pushing me to retire at the age of 29 because I speak out. And whenever I speak out, it hurts their business. It hurts their money. And that shows one more time they care more about money and business than, what players are standing for. And that is the one thing that kills me inside, because 2 years ago, when the problems are happening in America, NBA was the first organization that went out there and said, we care. We encourage our players to talk about whatever they want to talk about. 2 years later, I talk about the problems that are happening in China, and every NBA games are canceled. Boston Celtics games are canceled, and they were mad. And I was out of the league like that.
Yeah.
But there are bigger things than basketball. There are bigger things than money and business. So I just wish one player that can join me, so we can just start this whole thing.
Do you still want Elon Musk to buy the NBA?
That will be my dream. That will be my dream. I think what he's doing is for free speech is amazing, and I think he can bring some justice to NBA, and finally maybe I can get to play basketball.
All right, Enes, thanks so much for taking time for us today. We appreciate it as always. It's good to hear your perspective on all of this.
Thank you so much.
You got it, John.
All right, my little ninjas. Today is Dabs for Donations Thursday, which means if you give a donation, which there are clickable links in the text body of the video, or you can look in the chat and there's also there's links on the moxnews.com website. If you would like to give a donation, I can't thank you enough, but I will be more than happy to do a bong hit in your honor. Speaking of which, our wonderful Jackie Cat has already given a donation again on Dab's bong hits for donations Friday, Saturday, Thursday, whatever day, because she's so wonderful. She just keeps giving and giving and giving. But it is my honor to do a bong hit, a dab, in Jackie Cat's honor, because, like I said, she's so wonderful. She makes a huge difference in the show, and I can't thank you enough, Jackie. So this one's for you, girl. Okay. I'm feeling much better now. Now, as many of you know, I'm a big proponent of freedom of speech. And I have been long before there was a YouTube. Freedom of speech is our most basic right, without which all the other rights are basically meaningless. If we can't speak our own minds, if we can't explain who we are and what our thoughts are, what our thought process is, then we're completely worthless. Beyond that, we're restrained and contained down into not actually being ourselves, even more than not being ourselves, not living our own lives because we're not being able to express our own thoughts. Which is a form of abuse, it's just a tyrannical kind of thing. And when you ask about which is a bigger threat to humanity, which is more damaging to humanity, you can look throughout history, right? And you can see the censorship that's gone on throughout the centuries, and it's almost always about some tyrannical emperor who's like threatened by people speaking the truth, and they clamp down on that truth to protect their tyrannical empire. Okay? And I think that we've seen this a lot in just the last, few years, right? We've seen speech shut down. We've seen people, and the reason I wanted to show this NBA guy is because I've gone through this before. Okay, back in 1997, I had a television show in Seattle, and I was front page of the Seattle Times, like 5-6 shows into learning how to make TV. I was front page of the Seattle Times, naked, just like this, front page, and I lost 2 jobs. Both of them pretty good jobs. I've been a fine dining waiter for the majority of my adult working life. Let's put it that way. The vast majority. Fine dining waiter. 2 nice restaurants. One of them real nice, on the water, beautiful view of Seattle. We can't. They saw me on the front page. They're like, we can't have this in our restaurant. Well, it's not happening in your restaurant. And it became like, which I don't know why I didn't sue those people or the other people. We run a family, the other place, we run a family establishment, and I was known not to be very family friendly. Let's put it that way. So I lost my job. I lost 2 jobs because of freedom of speech, in which I wasn't even expressing myself in the work environment in which I got fired from. Okay, so for freedom of speech, somewhere off work, somewhere far away from work, telling everybody to live their lives the way they fucking want to live their lives and screw everybody else. Which is basically what I was doing. They said, yeah, we can't have this here. Yeah, we run a family establishment. The other one was corporate, but it was nice. So I lost 2 jobs because of my freedom of expression. And I was like, whatever. I was busy. I had stuff, getting like 100 phone calls a day from people who want my attention, and trying to know if I can hold on to 2 jobs. Okay, so I was like, yeah. And I was front page of the Seattle Times multiple more times. So I think I made the right choice. Plus, it's not just that. I have people, 25 years later, writing me, thanking me for what I did on TV. Thank you so much for what you did. Not, for this amazing show that made us all so happy and blah, blah. Thank you so much for what you did. You made a difference. That's the vibration I have set up in the universal spiderweb continuum. And this is part of that process too. This is just kind of a moving on from the dinosaur that is television into the interwebs. And and establishing what I did there, which I think I did a pretty good job with that too, in case anybody's wondering. But I wanted to talk about that last clip because, again, I've experienced something similar. Although I wasn't making, what did he make, $500,000 a year, $1 million a year, something like that. I wasn't making $1 million a year. So. Where were we next? All right, we're talking about freedom of speech. We're talking about your experiences, my experiences, and the fact that we need to do another bong hit because Playground of Sound was so generous as to give us a nice big fat tip. Very nice of you, sir. I can't thank you enough for all your help. And that goes for the rest of you. I can't thank you enough for all your help. But if you'd like to give a donation, I will be more than happy to single you out and do a bong hit in your honor. And I owe one to Playground of Sound for being so awesome. So we'll need to get to that very quickly. First, I need to have a few sips of my tea. And also, the telephone number is up there on the screen. 805-669-6397. 805 Mox knows. Mox knows. Operators are standing by. I don't need anybody to talk about anything else. I have this subject covered. I'm telling you, I've been through the ringer when it comes to freedom of speech. And every single time, the people that wanted me censored were just being tyrannical, right? Number one, I wasn't going beyond the limits of free speech. I wasn't threatening anyone. And I was basically, again, just encouraging people to live their lives and not care what other people thought. And I had people coming after me day and night. I got arrested one time in Seattle, right? And they put me in this cell all by myself for some weird reason, which doesn't happen a whole lot. And then, like, 5 hours later, they're like, okay, we're gonna let you go, and they take me out. They took all my stuff. They take me out to this desk where they give you all your stuff back, right? And there's like some kind of like a shift watch manager or something there, guy in charge, and I go to get my stuff, and there's like 11 cops standing behind this shift manager, guard guy in charge, police officer in charge, right? Who's an old guy with a mustache and the whole thing, right? And there's like 11 cops standing behind him, right? And I'm like, so I can go? And one of them looks at me and he goes, what's going on with the show? They want to know what's going to happen next on TV. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen here on the internet. I don't know what's going to happen on live television. You can't know what's going to happen. Which is one of the really awesome things about live. And the most important thing, and why I do a call-in show. So that you can be involved, right? We've seen all the spontaneous shit that comes off of this phone, straight into that microphone, out into the interwebs, and published for all humanity for the rest of our days. I guess it's time for another bong hit then, huh? That was always a weird one when I came out and there's all these cops. Like, and they were all there just to find out what it is that I had going on. It's hilarious, man. That's my life, right? What a life. What a life. So I've always felt like, besides, like this being this, like, fighter for free speech, beyond that, I've always felt like the importance of it is so obvious when you see people and they're just like, tell me what's happening, how can I help, what's going on, and you all do that all the time. You're like, How can I help? Here, let me give you a little extra help. Look at all of you who show up night after night to help. It's very amazing. So, and for me, it's always just been about the free speech. Well, it's been about the free speech. It's been about freedom, because I don't like restraints put onto humans. Okay, if you're not hurting your neighbor, your neighbor has no business, trying to tell you that you're living your life wrong. Right? It's your life. It's your mistakes. It's your lessons learned. And unless you go out and live it, if you respond to what this neighbor says and what that neighbor says, soon you're not living your life anymore. You're living so that you can live next to this person, and so that you can live next to this person, and hopefully they won't be mad at you again. Fuck those people. It's your life, man. And by the way, you're not doing anything to bother them. They just, what you have the wrong kind of flowers in your front yard or something. All I'm saying is, what other people think really doesn't matter. Okay? And I don't know how clear I've made that here on Mox News, but I've tried. And I'm not saying that it doesn't matter what your opinion is when you call. What I'm saying is that people want to focus their opinions onto you. Who are they? Right? How would they like it if you dissected their life under a microscope, or any little part of it? It doesn't have to be under a microscope. Let's just put a spotlight on you and see what happens. Okay? So, these people who have a problem with you, generally, 99.999% of the time, is going to be nothing about you. It's going to be a problem inside of them. And you not having that same problem makes them very uncomfortable. And we've all seen this, and what I'm saying is true. Okay? Their problem that they're trying to focus on you is nothing to do about you. It's all inside of them. But as long as they're focused on you, they don't have to take the responsibility of what's going on inside of them. I don't know. I know that I owe a big fat dab to our man, my man, Playground of Sound. You are a dude, right, dude? My man. So we'll do that momentarily, because that seems like a really good idea, have another bong hit. Doesn't that seem like a good idea? I think we should just sit here and have bong hits all day long. I think that's what we should do the show now. The show should just be about sitting and seeing how many bong hits we can take today. And each day we'll try and set a personal best. I would consider doing that. But when I have more than 4 bong hits or so, I start to get a raspy throat. That's why we only do dabs for donations once a week. I don't really smoke that much, honestly. I do eat a considerable amount of marijuana. I get up in the morning and I go and warm up my tea, and I go, did I eat a brownie yet? I better eat a brownie. Because I don't like to get too far into the day and they go, oh shit, I need a brownie. Because when you need the brownie, it becomes kind of too late already. Already that pain is starting to become noticeable and setting in. So, and a brownie, relief from a brownie is about an hour away or so, give or take. So, it's better just to start your day off with the brownie. With your morning tea. Oh, yes, I forgot to get my brownie. I'm going to get a brownie. I'll be right back. Enjoy this tea. Actually, brownie does sound pretty good. And I'm noticing that I'm going, after I finish a meal, I'm going, oh, I need chocolate. And I go, I make cakes. I don't like the chocolate cakes, right? I make I like lemon cake. I buy chocolates. I buy these salted caramel chocolates where they like, it's a caramel that has chocolate around it with sea salt. Actually, Craig buys them. Dark chocolate, really good. I don't want that. Actually the dark chocolate raisins are pretty good. But more, I go, oh, you know what? A brownie. I want a brownie. So I got to be really careful. One of my friends yesterday or the day before, I was giving him half of my chocolate cake because I didn't like the way it tastes. I made a chocolate cake. Like, hey, you want my chocolate cake? Fuck yeah, I'll take the chocolate cake. So I'm giving him my chocolate cake, and he says, I really like it, brownies. And I'm like, yeah, you can't really love brownies and use them as medicine. But I've been doing that. Like, after I go, oh, I want a brownie. So I kind of am using them for dessert a little bit. I got to be careful with that. I mean, I got it to where a tray of brownies right now is lasting 2 to 3 weeks. 2 weeks, figure 2 weeks, 10 days, 2 weeks, something like that. Don't fucking judge me. I used to be a tray of brownies last 30 days. I think I'm just in this point where I'm, medicating more thoroughly now. And I think it's a good way to go. I've given up all other like pain medication like ibuprofen and Advil and aspirin. I don't take anything like that anymore. So, and I really don't miss them at all. I don't. Every once in a while, I have some ache and pain, and I'll just go take an extra big brownie, and it goes away. So I don't miss the pills. Don't like the pills. That being said, I do love me a cup of tea and a brownie. Let's have a brownie now. Did I mention that it's Dabs for Donations Thursday? Which means, as I said, I can't thank you enough for showing up to share your precious time with all of us. But if you were to give a small donation, I would be more than happy to do a lovely dab bong hit in your honor. So, and right now I'm going to do a big fat brownie, and then we're going to do a puff because I can. What a life, right? Mmm. 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 All right. I have a couple of videos left, but I really wanted to talk about the NBA and losing your job because of free speech. I don't know. Has that ever happened to any of you? I was talking about how it happened to me. It didn't fire me because of freedom of speech, by the way. I mean, that's the real reason. I say stuff like, get a haircut. Well, I just got a haircut. Trim your beard. And my beard was like, just like this little tiny beard coming off like that, just right here. But it wasn't even gray. But the gray looks pretty, doesn't it? I like the gray. Ooh, I'm gonna go heat up my tea. I think what we'll do, since no one's calling, which is fine. Like I said, I can ramble on. This subject is in my blood, so it's not a problem for me to go on and on and on when it comes to this. But let's talk about Kamala Harris for a minute, shall we? I'm gonna go heat up my tea, and we'll try and talk about Kamala Harris when I get back, because obviously no one cares about freedom of speech, and we'll do a big fat dab for my man POS, Playground of Sound. I'll be right back.
We've known for months that Kamala Harris has been unhappy with her standing in the Biden administration. Root causes of immigration, voting rights, space, all of those assignments were beneath her. She needs a really juicy project to sink her teeth into, and she may have found it with the abortion debate.
How dare they? How dare they tell a woman what she can do and cannot do with her own body? How dare they? How dare they try to stop her from determining her own future? How dare they?
But since then, nothing. She gave a commencement speech on Saturday, and so far this week, she's met with the Bulgarian prime minister and hawked discounted internet.
In the 21st century, access to the internet is essential for success. Every person in our nation, no matter how much they earn, should be able to afford high-speed internet.
If Joe Biden really wanted to raise Kamala's profile, he would unleash her on Roe. Instead, he's putting her on ice. Now, is this payback for Kamala standing him up over the student loan forgiveness video? Might be. She wouldn't appear in a video with the president on student loan forgiveness. Didn't want to go near that. Wanted to protect her left-wing flank. But what we do know is this: Liz Warren is lapping her. She's on every show you can imagine, positioning herself as the leading lib voice in the abortion debate. This was supposed to be Kamala's time to shine. But now, sadly, she's out in the cold. For more on what's going on, let's bring in Monica Crowley, former Assistant Secretary of the Treasury and the Monica Crowley podcast host. All right, Monica, what do you think's really going down here?
Well, you know, Jesse, for a Democratic president, what is the point of having a female vice president if she's not going to go out there and fight for abortion, right? So that tells me that Joe Biden and his team have essentially sidelined her on that issue. And she can't really be happy about that because, as you say, and then it completely dropped off. Look, Kamala Harris is a mess. She doesn't know what she's doing. She's in way over her head, and she has no support whatsoever. In fact, remember when sources close to Kamala, Jesse, which basically means Kamala, played the race card and said that if Joe Biden had a white dude as vice president, he'd be treated a lot better than her. So the shade war continues. But what's really interesting is because she's like in this constant state of nervous breakdown, the Democrats realize they've got a huge problem with her. She doesn't know what she's doing, and yet they can't easily get rid of her. And that's why you're seeing people like Elizabeth Warren identifying a real lane for themselves, not just on the progressive side, but even going forward for 2024 for the presidency and the vice presidency.
Do you think Liz Warren hates Kamala Harris, or do you think Kamala Harris hates Liz Warren?
Well, I'm not sure what the personal story there is, but I do think politics are running rampant here, Jesse. And I do think that Elizabeth Warren is picking up the torch on the abortion issue. She's leading the charge.
She's been strong.
And you and I talked about this. Yeah, absolutely. And you and I talked about her a couple of weeks ago on this show, where we identified the fact that she is really the prominent voice for the liberals, for the radical activist base. It's not so much AOC anymore, it's Liz Warren. Liz Warren has wanted to run for president. She's tried in the past and failed. And I do think there's a recognition that Joe Biden, there's no way, no sane person believes he is going to be the candidate in 24. He can't make it another 2 days, Jesse, never mind another 2 years. And very few people think it's going to be Kamala Harris because she's the most unpopular vice.
And AOC, where's she been? That's a really good point. We're going to have to find out where Ocasio-Cortez has been hiding as well. Thank you so much, Monica Crowley.
You bet. Thanks, Jesse.
I am really sorry, my little ninjas. I do not know what's going on with this. It says red, yellow, green, red, yellow, green. YouTube not receiving enough enough bandwidth, enough anything. I can't tell you what it is that's going on here. The machine's a good, rock solid machine. So I think what we should do, continue to try and have a bong hit and ride this out momentarily. Maybe. Now it's just going red and yellow. A minute ago it was red, green, yellow, red, green, yellow, and then two different colors of red. I don't know. Hey, are you streaming? Are you streaming? Yes. You're not getting any? Okay. I got no idea. Alright, so I think. Oh, restart. Hey, look at that. It says solid green. It went red, orange, red, orange, red, orange, red, orange. And then it went red, orange, yellow, red, orange, and then it went green, red, orange, yellow, green, red, orange, yellow, green. And then it went green, yellow, and then it went green. So it says green now. It said, how are you? Are you still here? Should we still do this? I'm still here. Are you still here? What the fuck is this shit? Go away. How do you close this? Oh, like that. That it? There we go. Are you still here? Are you still wanting to do a bong hit? I still want to do a bong hit. Hi, Jackie Cat. So I don't know what that was all about. I was like, oh, I gotta go restart the modem, which I would have had to get Craig on the phone to go and do. But we definitely need a bong hit after that, right? I think so. I can't believe we made it through that, guys. I was like, oh, what is the point? It's like if Jackie Cat doesn't show up, it's like, what's the point in doing this? But you're still here. So, I am surprised. Let's see. We were gonna do a video. Did we do a video? Did we just do a video? Free press. We just did Where's Camilla, huh? It got all choppy on that. We should redo the Where's Camilla one. I'll save it. But you know the thing about Where's Camilla is I think that both Joe Biden and Camilla Harris have come to the conclusion that it does absolutely no good for either one of their political careers to be standing next to each other. So what I'm saying is that when Joe Biden is up there on stage and Camilla Harris is standing behind him, his polls go down even worse than when he's up there on stage alone. What I'm saying is that when Camilla Harris's horrible poll numbers in the toilet poll numbers, horrible, when she's standing next to Joe Biden, they go even deeper in the toilet. They get flushed. So I think that's what the conclusion is that they're coming to, is that, plus Camilla Harris, I'm pretty sure, is seriously in over her head. Like, all she wants to do is like pose and go have a nice fucking 3-hour lunch. I'm pretty sure. Or work much less than that. I can't. It's so difficult for me to imagine Camilla Harris actually doing any kind of thing that you or I might be considered work. I can't imagine her doing anything. I can't imagine her gardening. I can't imagine her cooking dinner for her family. And she's running our fucking country. Well, she's the backup to run our fucking. She's our backup battery. I am so. All right. Now, Playground of Sound is here. He got a fatty rolled. I got my thing ready. I don't got it ready. I'm gonna get it ready now. I got my thing ready. It's almost ready. So anybody think about this, where we're supposed to be like changing the show format from from this talk of horrors in the world to talk of horrors and tyrants in the world, or we could talk about what amazing thing we saw today. I don't think that will work as a segment to the show, although we could do it like that, but I already do that every day. Maybe that should just be how I answer the phone. Hello, caller. What amazing thing did you experience today? Maybe I should do it that way. But right now, what I should do is I should take a big fat bong hit, get back to where we were, big fat bong hit for my man, Playground of Sound, POS, for donating to Mox News on Dabs for Donations Thursday. Very generous of you, sir. I can't tell you all how much I appreciate you just showing up, let alone making a donation. But if you are to make a donation, I will be more than happy. It will be my honor to do a bong hit in your honor. So this one is for Playground of Sound. And we'll get to that in just a minute. I got a nice fatty pulled for you, bro. Let's see how that turns out for me. Did I tell you guys how much I love you? I like this idea of sharing something more, of just focusing on something that's more heartwarming, more uplifting, more, less negative, basically. This one's for Playground of Sound. Because, when I talk about the owl that I saw chasing the squirrel around a tree, when I talk about the hummingbird, when I talk about the eagles, I talk about the trees. It just you can feel like this weight, this negativity that gets lifted off. And the last thing that I really want to do is add more negativity to your world. So when I was talking about this, what amazing thing did you experience today? See? So, thank you so much for Playground of Sound. That one's for you, bro. Nice. So, when I talk about, what was it I was talking about? When I talk about, what amazing thing did you experience today? When I talk about that, I get all of us to focus on something, that's cool in the world that maybe some other people didn't notice, but it's right there in their life, and maybe they'll notice it tomorrow because we pointed out that there are these amazing, cool things going on in your life right now, as opposed to, a lot of people get in this, oh, did I mention this cool thing that's in my life? My beautiful baby showed up to do a live stream with all of us. Is that not awesome? My beautiful baby. Mwah, 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 mwah. You okay over there, buddy? Huh? You okay? Huh? So, he joined us this evening. I didn't even have to take a treat to get him to come up here or to get him to go up on the thing. I was just like, get upstairs. And he went upstairs. Get upstairs! And he came right into the studio, went and laid down by the river. What a good boy. What a beautiful baby. All right, so we were talking about the amazing thing that you experienced today. and that if we were to focus on that we would not so much focus on it, but if I was to kind of make the show about that, what amazing thing did you see today, did you experience today, that we might shift people's attention into a more positive direction, as opposed to when we're talking about censorship and our rights being taken away and our country going down the toilet. It's been done. Not only has it been done, it doesn't add this, I would like to think that it adds some kind of strength, that builds some kind of, team. It helps us to understand the evil powers that we all have to come together to stand up against. I don't see that happening. It seems like the more this dialogue is pressed of, these people are evildoers, and it doesn't matter. I don't care, Joe Biden, Donald Trump, Barack Obama, fucking George W. Bush, the same. The same. Every single one of them. And I'd love to pull one out, and say, oh, this guy, this woman, I'd love to pull out this woman. Say, this woman, she changed everything for the better. And that's the point of me coming out and doing this and trying to have a discussion about these things. Isn't to add negativity to your life, isn't to stress you out, isn't to show you ugly things that are going on in the world. It's to hopefully build a team so that we can get this person. It's this thing, it's this light at the end of the tunnel. It is an amazing thing that I see, that I experience, that I hope to bring into everyone's lives. I'm just afraid that there's so much negativity between that light that I'm trying to bring into everyone's lives and the cesspool that we have to trounce through in order to get to that light. And for me, I see the light everywhere all day long. I don't know that most people are like that. I think that a lot of people, like I said again and again, are overworked, way underappreciated, and probably the last thing that they need is more negativity. I mean, it's just overwhelmed with fucking COVID and the news and all this bullshit that's spewed on you from every direction. You have to do what we say. You have to act the way we tell you to act. You have to listen to the things we want you to hear. which is kind of the thumbnail on this particular live show. It said something about liberal thought police. Now, I don't really think it's a liberal or a conservative thing. I think to identify in the terms of liberal, conservative, Democrat, Republican, right, left is purely divisive. You know, I was thinking about it earlier today when that NBA basketball guy was talking about about the the NBA pulling their championship game or whatever. Who cares? Fucking sports. Pull a championship game out of Georgia because Georgia made these laws saying that you can't have something bathrooms. I don't know. And I was thinking, why is it that we separate people when they go into the bathroom? You know, I mean, this is this weird thing where we separate sexes. This is just another way where we divide each other and saying, oh yeah, you're not one of those, so you have to go in this other room, right? It's because I see that happening everywhere, and I think it's a huge negative in our world and our species. Hello, caller.
Hey, Mike, how's your Thor day going?
It was rainy.
It was rainy today. You noticed that. It rained here, and it was cold and rainy.
It rained. It rained pretty hard.
Yeah, we got some rain today. Anyway, it's going to be rainy next week as well. I looked at an extended forecast, and it looks like we have about another week at least of this. And I know we have opinions about the weather, but just to note to everyone listening, the longest day of the year, the first day of summer, is going to be on June 21st, which is only about 4 or 5 weeks away. 5 weeks away.
You mentioned that yesterday.
So if we have another week of rain, it means we're only going to have like 4 weeks before the solstice, if we're lucky, with sun. And the days start getting shorter after June 21st or 2nd. So when the days start getting shorter, I mean, we do always have a nice summer, and I'm looking forward to that. But it's just been a little chilly. And it rained today. Did you have a walk? Did you go out?
Yeah. It was a short walk. But we went out. It was later in the day. It was after the rain stopped later in the day. I didn't get enough of a walk, but we got out. We did go out. We did walk around the block.
Good. I bet Rufus appreciated that.
He always appreciates that. Yeah, it's
being outside.
Yeah, it's just there's this sense of adventure that exists within all of us, including all the animals and everything. And you can see it especially in most dogs. They're just desperate to see what's going on in the world. And it's one of these things that I fear humans have lost a lot in Western civilization, Western culture. Is this what I'm talking about? And instead of seeing the wonder, I can't wait to get to Hawaii, in 3 months from now or whatever,
Or escape from where I am right now.
Yeah.
Like I'm not in a beautiful place right now.
Which is incorrect.
That's true. But that's part of like selling shit, right? Like that's part of like consumerism because an advertisement, an advert on television,
right,
is trying to convince you that there's something missing in your life. There's something that's not right with your life.
Right.
That can be provided to you that will make you seem as though you're happy. And that includes like, a cruise on a boat or a holiday or a vacation someplace.
If you just had the new iPhone, all your dreams would come true.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you can just take your old iPhone and throw it in a big pile on top of your last iPhone in the backyard and just let it accumulate, which is how we fly. That's our culture, right? Like you buy something to make you happy, and then inevitably it ends up in a closet or in a box or in a garage or, in the backyard, or it ends up in the landfill inevitably. So, I mean, it's the same with these holidays. I mean, like people spending thousands of dollars to go places they can't really afford to go to because they think that's going to fulfill something inside of them. Maybe they could spend that money more constructively around themselves. Like, you know what I'm saying? instead of trying to find an outlet for it. I'm not saying that travel isn't a good thing. I think it is.
Yeah.
But but going like on a cruise ship for like 10 days or something and just being around a bunch of other people who are exactly like you in a box floating on the ocean playing shuffleboard. You can play shuffleboard in Cleveland, you know. You don't have to go on a boat to do that.
Cruises does not look like a real appealing thing to me. I wouldn't want to, suggest that people shouldn't go out on their adventures. What I'm trying to suggest myself is that a very similar adventure is going on all around you right now. And it's sad if you're completely missing out on that.
There's a quote I wanted to share. This was a Jean-Paul Sartre quote, the French existentialist dude from the 50s. And he had a quote that said, "Once freedom lights its beacon in man's heart, the gods are powerless against him." Once freedom lights its beacon in man's heart, the gods are powerless against him. So I like that idea of once you know yourself and you know the truth, it doesn't matter the forces that are arrayed against you. You will always have like a certain amount of dignity to you, or a certain amount of worth or light or whatnot. I thought that was a pretty interesting quote.
It's this thing that I keep saying when people, I don't care what you think. It doesn't matter what people think. It shouldn't matter less. You're a good person. You're a sentient person. You don't need other people's approval to know that you're a good person. Okay? So, you can I don't want to tell you how to live your life, but if people are focusing their negativity on you, just remember most of the time it really has absolutely nothing to do with you.
Well, on the subject of negativity and separateness and oneness and all things in between, there was a story I saw today that addresses all of these things, and that was, and this is from RT, but it was also at phys.org, which is a science site, like with Science News. And this is what an RT story says. Photograph confirms what is at the center of the galaxy. Astronomers have confirmed the object at the center of our galaxy, the Milky Way, is a black hole, and they have photographed it. Right? Mm-hmm. And it's 27,000 light years away from our planet. It has 4 million times the mass of our sun, and they got a picture of it, which shows like this black hole where presumably that's where our universe started from, is from that black hole. Not our universe, this galaxy, the Milky Way galaxy. And they had been looking for evidence to prove this theory for a long time, and they have it today. They know for a fact that at the center of our galaxy is a black hole, which means, in a strange way, that all of us are connected, Mike. We're connected as a species. We're connected as a life form. We're connected as a part of planet Earth, right? And we're connected in a bigger sense with every piece of matter that's circling around this particular black hole. We're all interconnected.
Okay, well, you said that they know for a fact that there's a black hole at the center of the universe. Do you know for a fact that there's a black hole at the center of our galaxy?
This is one of those situations or examples where I'm going to trust experts on this, because I'm not a physicist, right? But this EHT includes more than 300 researchers from 80 institutes, and they previously looked at a black hole at another galaxy to determine whether or not how they could find the black hole in our galaxy. And they had thought this for a long time. So this was a pretty big project that came to this conclusion, and actually they took a photograph of it with a telescope. So there's some tangible, at least visual evidence of a black hole in the center of our galaxy. Yes.
And is that something you say this connects every piece of matter in our galaxy, right?
I just brought this story up, first of all, because it was a story today that came out 12 hours ago, and it's in the press, even though it's not discussed on television that much. One. But two, it's something kind of positive in a way, I think, that like just, instead of looking at the negativity of the news, like kind of like taking a hit of acid and realizing that we're interconnected with all of these other things in the universe, and all of, not in the universe, but specifically in our galaxy.
Right.
In our galaxy.
In what way? In what way is it that we're all interconnected? That's what I. What is it that this black hole? How is it that makes us all interconnected?
Okay. Well, so galaxies and stars have lifespans that are like only so long. So inevitably, the laws of physics will destroy, this galaxy will be dispersed. But like the way we were created from the laws of physics, we are all connected because all matter that we see in our galaxy came from one star that imploded and became a black hole. So in that sense, we are all physically, like the matter in your body is from the same place.
That's where they're saying the creation of our galaxy. That's how they say the creation of our galaxy was from this black hole.
Yeah, I think that's the point here. Or there is a black hole. It says, known as Sagittarius A, the object at the center of the Milky Way, is described in a press release by the European Southern Observatory, long suspected to be a black hole. However, the images created through linking up a global network of telescopes provide direct proof of this hypothesis. And the technical achievement here was pretty amazing because they connected all of these satellites at one time to get this image. So I would encourage viewers to at least read the article if they can find it at RT or at phys.org, which is a science site.
They have it on CNN and other places too.
Yeah. So anyway, it's not bad news, right? Isn't that like just science? Isn't that objective news? Like when you look up in the sky and you wonder why there's that black spot there. It's like, wow, that black spot's kind of cool. It's a fucking black hole. It's the center of our universe. Center of our galaxy.
I think space is cool. I don't trust it. It's like all the other news. I don't trust it. But I think it's a very interesting story, I think people are kind of fascinated by space. I think black holes is something that's very fascinating. And if it's the origins of our galaxy, if that's what you're saying, that there was a star that exploded and that's what created our galaxy, and is now a black hole at the center of our galaxy, that's very interesting. I haven't heard that explained.
Well,
expressed.
they've also, like I said, they modeled this photograph and this process because taking the picture of the center of of our galaxy was challenging. They said because there's dust and debris that kind of obscures this part of the galaxy. So they had to kind of obscures this part of the galaxy. So they had to wait till a specific time before they could even get a photograph, an unobstructed photograph of this spot, using all of this technology. First of all, but I find it interesting. I mean, astronomy is interesting for a lot of reasons. Like I read an article yesterday about, I think it's called the Nekba star disk, and it was found in a field in Germany, and it was 3,600 years old, and it's the first map of the sky. They think it predates Egyptian maps by about 75 years, and it's this disk that's about a foot wide, and it has gold emblems that are kind of emblazoned in this kind of bronze, but it looks like porcelain circle showing the location of stars when you're on a certain hill in Germany looking in a certain direction. And they think it may be one of the first mobile astronomical devices that they're the oldest that they've ever found, unlike, a pyramid or Stonehenge or such, so that people could take this with them and see the sky and understand. And that's important when you want to grow food, Mike.
Or cross the ocean.
If you want to cross the ocean. But especially, I think it started because they looked up the sky and they recognized they could determine time. And that's really useful when you want to grow food for agricultural autonomy.
When did they find this thing in Germany?
It's right now. It's on display at an exhibit in England with other objects from around Europe that are kind of talking about Bronze Age Stonehenge culture. But I can find it's called the Nakba or Nakra sky disk, and you can type it in a search engine and find it. It's interesting, and there's an image of it too. It's on display. So I mean, I'm just saying, a lot of people have found the stars interesting for a long, long time. I mean, it's especially without electric light. Imagine living in a world without electric light, and that's only 175 years old or something. Electric light.
I don't think that most people at this point have the ability to imagine living in a world without electric light.
And that happened so quickly. In only 5 generations, humans forgot what the sky would be like without light. That didn't take very long, did it?
I was looking at the moon a couple nights ago, and which I'm so in love with the moon, you have no idea. But I was looking at the moon, and there was like this street lamp behind it. And I was like, God, what the fuck? How come I can't see the moon properly? And I realized usually when I look at it, there's a big tree blocking that street lamp, right, from the front porch, but I had moved a little bit. And it made such a huge difference to have that tree in the way. And the difference it would make if there was just no lights at all would be like, it would be brighter than television. And television is seriously bright for you people who aren't aware of that. It's like blinding us all. Go ahead. And by that I mean your phones.
Yeah, sky gazing is amazing, and I like to look at the sky when I'm sure other viewers do, is when they're in nature and they're away from lights. So for me, it's like when I'm deep in the forest or I'm in the mountains and I'm far away from lights, and then I can really appreciate the stars more. And if I saw that every single night without light pollution and without pollution, I'm sure it changes our consciousness. And I don't know. That's also part of the problem with Starlink, I think, is that these satellites, there's going to be thousands and thousands and thousands of satellites to link up this internet service, and it's going to, in rural areas where there isn't a lot of light, create light pollution so they can't photograph the stars anymore and just see the stars, because time-lapse photography means that these satellites are going to disrupt the image from Earth of these star patterns and such. And it's kind of sad, I don't know. I don't think technology is the solution to all of our problems.
There's already like 80, 90,000 satellites in orbit. So, right?
I don't know how many are in orbit, Mike. I know that the Starlink system, I think it was like between 5 and 10,000 satellites or something like that. A lot of satellites. And they also fly in formations as well. So that's another thing I think they might do. But anyway, light pollution. You talk about pollution all the time. Light pollution.
Yeah. Well, look, it's as I just said, I experienced that myself recently, and we all experience it daily and are just not aware of it.
Yeah. So this is from just a basic website, qz.com, basic questions. It says, light pollution from SpaceX, OneWeb, and other satellites is making space research more difficult. Astronomers predict that 1 out of every 15 points of light in the night sky will be a satellite within 10 years. 1 out of every 15 points of light in the sky will be a satellite within 10 years. And that was from April of this year. Right. The sky. Yeah. There was one other story, and I don't know if it's a completely negative story, but it's not completely negative, that I found today. And that was from April 29th from Stop the Drug War. And the article says, or the quote says, Peru announces plan to purchase entire illicit coca crop. in Peru.
Yeah.
The government has announced a plan to buy up the nation's entire supply of illegal coca leaf as part of its battle against drug trafficking. The Andean nation is one of the world's three major producers with Bolivia and Colombia. The country has a legal coca market and produced an estimated 160,000 tons of coca leaf last year. But 95% of that coca was grown illegally and destined for illegal markets, where it was converted into 400 tons of cocaine. And that works out to be, for people who are curious, 400,000 kilos of cocaine is what 400 tons works out to be. The country's coca monopoly has 95,000 registered coca growers, but there are an estimated 400,000 coca growers that the government wants to bring into the fold. It's imperative for at least a year to buy coca leaf from existing producers and from those that will make up the new register, said a government official about the initiative. Also, the plan would end military occupation of certain parts of the country, including areas around the Apurimac, Ene, and Maturo rivers, where most of the coca production is and where there's been a military presence since 2006. So that's news from Peru.
I think that's brilliant. I mean, our government buys crops from our farmers regularly, and I think that if you're actually the approach to the drug war has been so stupid and ham-handed and just oafish, and obviously, useless. It's not working. It's only made things worse, which I think was the plan in the first place. But this is how you do it: is you don't ostracize these people, as Chris is saying. You bring them into the fold, and you say, "Hey, we want to do this all in the light of day, and we have a plan so that everyone can prosper." I think that's so much smarter than we're gonna throw you all in jail because people don't want cocaine. Well, obviously,
right.
You're wrong.
Or like what the Americans did in Mexico and in Colombia, and spray paraquat and dangerous pesticides on commodities that are going to be consumed and smoked by people all around the world, which is what we did. So instead of just buying your cannabis or buying your drugs, we're going to poison your drugs so that your consumers are going to get sick and ill. That's what we did, right?
It's one of the things that we did besides throwing millions of people in jail.
Yeah, we're still doing that. So, on that note, there was another story, and this is from my hometown paper, theolympian.com. And I didn't read the whole story, and I tried to find another source, but it's a headline. And it says, and it's a big headline, it's like the story today in this newspaper. Law enforcement bust illegal weed growers in Mason and Thurston County. And then there's a photograph of a Department of Ecology spill response team, and then one photograph of some poor person's little grow room where it looks like they have about 50 plants growing under lights.
Yeah.
Law enforcement bust illegal weed growers in Mason and Thurston County. Now, it's interesting to me.
What state is that?
State,
Washington?
That's in Olympia, Washington.
Oh, wow. That's why I thought those counties sounded familiar. Go again.
Yeah, Mason County is Shelton, and Thurston County is right next to it. So it's rural areas around where I live, basically. And it's got this banner, right? Law enforcement bust illegal weed growers in Mason and Thurston counties. And you know what? It's about time to start seeds outside right now. Like in the next couple of weeks, like when it stops fucking raining, it's like the time to start growing your cannabis, right? So what does the newspaper do? They put a headline: Law enforcement bust illegal weed growers in our county.
Yeah.
With a bunch of photographs.
Yeah.
As a way to scare people, or some people, not all people, but some people, away from growing cannabis. And it's so ridiculous that the government of Peru is saying they'll willingly buy any coca leaf in their country to try and reduce violence.
Right.
In our country, where we literally legalized cannabis in 2012, which is now 10 fucking years ago in this state, and people are still not allowed to grow, modest amounts of cannabis in their home without punishment or some kind of bullshit with the government.
Right.
Basically.
And pretty much every other state that has legalized, I believe they allow people home grows. In Canada,
Right.
18 and older, anyone 18 and older can grow 4 plants. So, we're like this puritanical country that's fucking just getting worse and worse. And we want to act like somehow that's the right thing to do, that we have to be good. No, we have to be human. And this fake thing where we go, oh, marijuana's the devil's drug. We have to act like, we have to not act. We have to understand that this is complete brainwashing, and it's horrible for your children and society. Go ahead.
Well, again, just speaking about Washingtonians, I think a lot of our neighbors, Mike, have bought all kinds of fucking propaganda, and the fact that they haven't been able to push like an issue of like letting people grow cannabis is just like how much they trust the Democratic Party to take care of their interest, even when it doesn't take care of their interest. And they'll just overlook this fact and say, oh, well, that's just one thing, this other person is so fucking dangerous. I'm like, well, these people will not even help you, provide you with like the opportunity to grow your own cannabis. That's a pretty simple thing they could do. Why would I give them my support?
I
never would.
When it was time to vote for the I-502, which was the legalization of cannabis in Washington State, I told everyone not to vote for it. And you know why? Because they weren't going to allow people to grow their own cannabis at home. I said, if you're not allowed to grow it at home, it's not legal. The cannabis is not legal if you can't grow it at home. And number two, they were promising, oh, we'll readdress this home grow issue, right away after we get the legalization ball rolling. We'll come back and we'll make it. And every year they say, oh, we're going to have time to look at, home grows here in Washington State. And then they go, oh, we were too busy to bring that up. And they push it off to the next year for 10 fucking years. I told people not to vote for this. I made multiple videos about don't vote for this, and but I understand why people would vote for it.
All I'm saying is that you're right on that score. But the fact is that people should have discovered that right after that point in time. Let's give them a little bit of a leeway. Let's take them 18 months to implement their initiative and make it into law, or whatever, right? And then they have to be held accountable. Well, they never were held accountable, right?
They never are. They never are held accountable.
They never are. And they did other crazy shit with our law when they put the cannabis industry in like the alcohol industry. So the same people who regulate alcohol in Washington State also now regulate the cannabis industry. And there was no logical reason to put those two things together at all. And that was the will of the Democrats in the legislature, because it's like a revenue thing for them.
Right.
They can't distinguish or differentiate between like what alcohol does and what cannabis does. So they have to throw it all together because they're so fucking closed-minded. And they closed all of the state liquor stores and privatized them so people could make a fortune selling liquor in our state. They did that as well. Democrats did that. So anyway, I'm also disappointed right now that my Congresswoman, Marilyn Strickland, representing the 10th District of Washington State, voted for the authorization for war. It kind of bumps me out. She's a former mayor of Tacoma, African-American lady, very, very popular here. And guess what? She voted for war. What a great person.
I don't understand exactly why. I mean, it's got to be some kind of bought and sold thing. It's like, okay, you're Congress here, now you get this big suitcase of dollars, and all you have to do is vote for war. Yes, sir. I don't see it any other way. I mean, I can't believe that people go there and all of a sudden become bloodthirsty for war. They go there,
and some of these.
And they get a big pile of money, and they say, well, I'll vote for whatever the fuck you want me to vote for. Go ahead.
I think you're exactly right about that. Because there are, like, I have no love for AOC or the Squad or any of them. Like, I find them to be pathetic people, but they have statements that they've made in the past where they clearly say, like, they don't support war funding. They ran for office not supporting war. There's lots of examples where those four people made statements opposing war funding. But now they voted for that $800 billion appropriations bill for the Defense Department. They did that. And now they just voted for, $50 billion or something for Ukraine. So I think that literally some of these Congress people, I think some of them are told, you either vote for this or you will no longer be a congresswoman. Something like that.
Or they put a big
pretty
suitcase.
sure that-
That might be part of it. You either vote for this and get this big suitcase of money and get to keep your job, or you don't vote for it and you don't get the money and you don't get to keep your job. I think there's a little more to it than just you get to keep your job. Because
and you won't get a cushy job afterwards either. You won't get that cushy
right.
lobbyist
I
job
think
because
that's
you're a thorn.
I think that's a big part of what politicians look forward to. They can just skate on what they have all their contacts now. So let's go get the big bucks. Tired of this fucking little pussy congressman salary.
Well, it's either they're being manipulated and they're doing something that they know is wrong, which I hope is true with some of them. But I think some of it also has to do with sociopathy, and by sociopathy, I mean that there are people who are willing to exploit and manipulate other people, and they have no problem violating trust that normal people deal with. And their only program is moving up the ladder and moving around so that they can manipulate more people. And I'm sure a lot of politicians, most politicians are like that. I mean, who else would want to be a politician, right? Sociopath.
I think if you look at the people that you're going to have to go and hang out with and think somehow, man, I want to be part of that organization, there's something seriously fucking wrong with you. It's like I wouldn't want to be president. I would not want to be president. I just want someone up there who will actually make a difference. And what we have now is people that are just flushing everything we have down the toilet. And it's not new. It's been going on a long time. And as I said, my cock could fix the problems in this country. My cock could do it. And but my cock has no interest.
Well, I would trust your cock more than I would trust Elizabeth Warren at this point, right? But I also think that Fox News clip was a little disingenuous, and I'll say why. I think that Fox News would love it if the Democratic Party ran Elizabeth Warren, because she would be a really easy candidate to beat. And that's why I'm not saying that she's
You mean
not
for a presidential candidate? You mean a presidential candidate?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The conservatives would love for her to be. Like, in other words, if it isn't one person, they would love if it be Elizabeth Warren in lieu of that. No problem at all. And they'll sell that message all day. But I do believe them that the vice president is a poor candidate. It would be a bad candidate for president. From the Democrats' perspective, she's not popular. Even with the identity politics, she's just not a popular person. But a lot of vice presidents have been that way, right? Like, remember Dan Quayle?
Remember
right?
Joe Biden? Remember Joe Biden? Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, right. Fair point. I mean, sometimes the vice presidents, and Richard Nixon was another one who crawled back and became president, after he was vice president.
I don't think that Joe Biden. The more you look at this guy, this is all a setup. And it seems like the media and everybody's in on it. All the politicians, it's like they're trying their best to get us to fucking distraction. Oh, we have to get this done over here that matters not at all to our country. We have to spend billions and billions because they want us as the sinking ship goes down to the point to where it's not coming back up. They want us looking everywhere around. They want us, this thing with Joe Biden, right? Where he's this doddering guy who doesn't know where his fucking keys are at. And, oh, who is this person here? Let me say some stupid grandpa thing. This is all putting him into the position of Ronald Reagan, okay? Oh, I'm suffering from Alzheimer's and I don't recollect anything that you're talking about. Gee, that's really fucking convenient, isn't it? Okay, you have somebody like this in charge when the ship is going down, when evil things are happening, and oh well, you know, I don't remember how that happened. That seems really convenient to me, and it's really strange that nobody seems to be pointing that out. But that's not their job, is to show you what's actually happening, because their job is to fucking get you to believe this is what's important and that's what's important, as opposed to what we see happening with our own eyes.
Like Hunter Biden, I don't think Hunter Biden has to worry very much about Joe Biden being drug into a courtroom to testify that he was the guy or something, because he's not going to be alive, or he's going to be in a nursing home with like serious Alzheimer's disease, which is what he has.
This is what I'm saying.
Like so they don't have to worry about. There's no criminal. You can tag everything on the earth onto Joe Biden. It's not going to have any significance because he's just not going to be around very long.
Yeah,
it's that simple.
Yeah.
But I would not be surprised if in the next round of elections, like 2024, if a wealthy billionaire runs as an independent, and that will
Mike Bloomberg.
Say like with. Oh, yeah, Mike Bloomberg, somebody who could draw votes away from the Democrat Party, right, and a few votes away from the corporatists on the right as well, but just enough to where there'll be a clear-cut victory for the Republican candidate. I could see that happening. They kind of did that with Jimmy Carter when Ronald Reagan got elected. It was a similar strategy.
Yeah.
And even Bill Clinton kind of used that strategy when the Texas billionaire ran and drew votes away from Republicans.
Ross Perot.
So I think we might see that strategy be employed by the Republicans, and it would make a lot of sense because there are a lot of disenfranchised people. Last time I checked, 35% of the people or more don't even vote. So those people are pissed, and I think fewer people will vote in the midterms. Maybe they will. I don't know. They might. We'll see.
I think that they're all in on it. I think they're all. I don't see any other way than them all working together. And you see these voices that are like, oh, well, they're doing this thing. We know they want us to believe. See, there's a good one. As long as there's a good one, there's hope. There's no good ones. They're all working together. And no matter how much it looks like, oh, well, they didn't vote for the $40 billion for Ukraine, that's because they knew that their voting no against it wouldn't make the slightest bit of difference in Ukraine getting that money. So they were allowed to, not just allowed to, but probably encouraged, because that way they could look like, oh, see, there's still hope. There's no fucking hope. Get over fucking hope, okay? Hope is, what do they call it? The opium of the masses or something.
That is what that is. That's correct. Hope is chope, and chope isn't worth very much. You can't buy ice cream with a chope ticket, right? It doesn't work like that. I don't know. I just don't. It's pretty fucked up. Our politics is fucked up, but that the Democrats, and I mentioned Marilyn Strickland, the Congresswoman, but also 360, every single fucking one of them voted for war. So, and that tells me that they're never going to backtrack on that. If every one of them agreed with each other, and they're in control of the propaganda apparatus right now, and are telling us all these lies through the media and through official documents, they are never, ever going to admit they were wrong. They never will. They are totally unified with evil at this point, and there's nothing to change that. So that's discouraging in a way for me, because if just a few of them had kind of peeled off we can at least the same argument that the Republicans are saying by a few of theirs peeled off, right? If a few of the Democrats had peeled off, at least they could say, some people had a fucking conscience, but that did not happen. So they're locked in.
Yeah.
Locked in.
I look at that. I cannot believe. It's not that I can't believe, but it's really difficult for me to believe that voters are so overwhelmingly in support of sending all this money off to the Ukraine. Maybe I'm wrong, especially this like Democrat. How do Democrats who are supposed to be anti-war, the Dennis Kucinich party, stand up and organize all these fucking anti-war protests, which have gone since the time of Barack Obama, but they organized all these protests to stand up when all the Republicans were standing, goose-stepping us off to war in Iraq, and then when you think about it, actually all the Democrats were doing the exact same thing, except for this controlled opposition like Dennis Kucinich.
Only one, Barbara Lee was the one vote in the U.S. House 20 years ago who voted against authorization for spending, I think, on the war on terrorism, I think is what it was.
Yeah.
And yesterday, she voted for war money for Ukraine.
Yeah.
One perfect example of one individual who has no fucking moral
soul.
Integrity. They're not they're not consistent. Yeah, they don't have a soul, but they're not consistent. Like one day they oppose something, the next day they support something. And what are we talking about? Killing people with American tax dollars.
Again.
With war. Supporting war. Again. So it's very disappointing, and I agree with you. It was a ploy by Republicans to save face, in a way they can, even if they don't like those 50 or 60 congressmen who voted the way they voted, at least they can say they have diversity in their party more than the Democrats can say, which they're lockstep into nuclear Armageddon at this point. And remember, once they got the ball rolling in Vietnam, it rolled for another 10 years. Like, once they all agreed that they needed to fucking go to war in Vietnam, it didn't matter what any people thought. The war continued, and it just continued on and on and on. And that's what we're facing. And just like in the 1960s, many Democrats are supporting war right now.
And it's like they don't even understand that that's what they're supporting. They think they're supporting freedom and the right thing to do, and this is I said from day one of this Ukraine thing, this is not, we should not have anything. The only reason the shit's still going on is because of American involvement. That's the facts, 100%. Go ahead.
This is also what happens when you allow ex-military intelligence officers and central intelligence agents to be Congress people. And I believe in the 2020 election, there were like 20 Democrats. There was a large number. I don't know if they all won, right? But in their races, who were either ex-military intelligence or ex-intelligence officers running for Congress, like openly in their congressional seats saying, like, I served with the CIA in Afghanistan, and I did amazing work helping the people of Afghanistan deal with the threats that surrounded them, which is why I'm representing your district in the state of Michigan. Vote for me. I mean, there were quite a few of them like that.
Yeah.
Right? And now we're seeing the fruit of that. When you have former Central Intelligence agents and defense, people in your Congress elected by Democrats, this is what you're going to get as a consequence of that.
They're elected by Republicans too. I mean, it's not just elected by Democrats. Yeah,
that's true, and it's on both sides of the aisle as well. But I'm thinking of people like Pete Buttigieg, for example, who came out of nowhere. Who the fuck was Pete Buttigieg, right? An obscure mayor from Fort Wayne, Indiana. Who cares, right? Oh, but he happened to work for this consulting firm called McKinsey, which is a global consulting firm. Oh, he also happened to be an intelligence officer. And he's this small-town fucking mayor.
Right.
Wow. Why is he running for president again? And then he bucks up Bernie Sanders in the Iowa caucus, And then what happens? At the end of the election, they make him Secretary of Transportation or something?
Yeah.
This guy, how was he qualified for that post in the cabinet, right? He wasn't.
He's not.
He's not. So this patronage system also is screwed up, right? Where, like, people appointed to the cabinet get, like, political appointments. Not the best person to run the Department of Transportation, or like Rick Perry, the former governor of Texas, was the right guy to run the Department of Energy.
Yeah.
Are you high?
Yeah. Well, it's not the right guy is somebody who's going to come in and not change things. The right guy is not somebody with a vision for a better tomorrow. The right guy is somebody who wants to fucking put patchwork over the potholes and say, "See, it's like brand new. We changed everything," and they didn't change a fucking thing. So
the right guy got a bullet in the head on November 23rd, 1963, or November 22nd, 1963. That's what happened to the right guy. And everybody else, when they become president, they take him in a room down the bottom of the White House, and they show him a movie of that movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they know there will be no more good guys, because the good guys will comply. The rule is comply or die. Welcome to Rome.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was saying last night. You know, if it wasn't for this bullshit where, oh, you got to have a family if you're going to be the president, you know, you don't have to have a family. The president we need is one that doesn't have a family. The president that we need is one that can't have their family threatened. The president we need is not somebody whose priority is their family. The president we need is someone whose priority is all of our families. And that's not what we're getting with these people who have to have a family in order to be an upstanding enough citizen to become president. No, if they have a family, then that family can be threatened, and they can go, "Oh, well, my family is the most important thing in the world to me." Well, then you're in the wrong motherfucking job. Okay? And that's the facts. If that's the way it is, we don't need those people running for president. Okay? We need somebody with no family. We need somebody going, "You know what? They're going to kill me." Okay? So when I die in this first 4 years, probably the first 12 months, remember, I told you they're going to fucking kill me. Now, we're seizing all the oil companies today. You know, until we write a new contract with them, and just write down like, and we're seizing the Federal Reserve. Okay, so yeah, how long you think that's gonna last?
Well, that's that is kind of has some authoritarian overtones to it.
So
right?
This is the way
demands.
things should be. If you want a world,
I know that's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
It's like, in order to get everybody on board with the same message before you make a message like that, but like the people have to kind of be on board with the program.
No.
Those are solutions to the program. But right now, only, I'm going to say, less than 40% of the pop. I mean, maybe it's greater. I don't know. How many people? That's a really good question. How many people have any faith in the duopoly, i.e., Democrats and Republicans, to solve the problems that confront us today in the United States? As a question, right? I wonder how many people could say, number 5, very much confidence. Number 1, 0 confidence, you know? I wonder how many people would say, oh, I have a lot of confidence in politicians, if the political parties are going to solve our problems. I don't think that number is very high.
No. The whole point of the duopoly is that we don't get our problems solved. You know, oh, well, we tried to vote for that, but they fucked it all up. You know, we tried to do the right thing, and they can bounce back and forth, you know. Oh, well, we're trying to make this happen that these people want to hear, that's really important to these people. And then there's these other people saying, oh, well, we're going to make this happen to what's really important to these people. And instead of coming together like Americans, like U.S. citizens, and talking about, you know, what needs to happen right now in order for us to move on, not these fucking bullshit fucking bait. This bait is like, oh, you like it when we talk about this. Oh yeah, this is what you want to hear. That doesn't. That what that gets us is nothing. It gets us this exactly where we're at right now. Instead of
what do you think would happen, Mike, if somebody figured out a way to break the internet, and they could break the internet for like 5 days? What do you think would happen?
I think that that's when you start to be concerned about things like this, nuclear, issues where things aren't perfect, like you're talking about aging systems that haven't properly been updated. That's when concerns about power, energy, and all these things. But I think that if we didn't have to be concerned with stuff like that, I think that people would probably breathe a lot easier, and maybe, I don't know if 5 days is enough time, but just maybe, come to some kind of an understanding that that all of this adds nothing to our lives. Something like that.
I wonder how many people would be throwing themselves off of buildings like within 36 hours.
Yeah, you take their phones away and it's going to make them insane. So a lot of them are just going to go like, I can't deal. I need my phone. And it's just going to be endless for them every minute of the day. God, my phone, because they carry it and they never leaves their fucking hand. I mean, literally Elon Musk just said we're all cyborgs now, okay? Because we have this thing that connects us all, everywhere we go, all the time.
Well, it's true in a way. We are all interconnected. Like, that's a truth. He's correct, unfortunately. But like I said, I don't see it going in a positive direction. Like, I don't think living in a world without electricity would be that terrible. Personally, it would be another life. It would be a life. But I think we could. I think we could manage it. We managed it for 300,000 years. We managed it. So it's only recently, in the last 200 years that we've even had access to electricity. It hasn't been very long as a species.
I don't think electricity is evil itself. It's just being, not used correctly to the betterment of man and humans and Earth.
All right, I'm gonna listen to the other callers, Mike. I did want to share that story that they found that the center of the universe was a black hole, as they expected it would be, but they have a photograph of it now.
Awesome.
Yeah. All right. Have a good night.
All right. Talk to you later.
Have a great weekend. Enjoy the weekend. Peace.
Yeah. And that's our friend Chris from Olympia. And that's my Boo Bear right there down by the river. Oh, what a life, huh, buddy? What a life. And that's his Pikachu. It's my Pikachu. But he likes to think it's his Pikachu. Okay, so, and I think, again, the thing about the black hole being at the center of our galaxy, I saw that story, and I thought, a lot of this stuff from space, this like, oh, we landed the lunar rover on Mars, I see all these things, and I have such mistrust of our media. Such incredible, which is no way to live in today's, nonstop connectivity to media. It's very difficult to have zero trust in it and it being everywhere, right? So, it's like I said when, and this is how much if you don't understand, let me make it clear how much I distrust information from mainstream media, okay? when the news started saying that we no longer need to wear masks when we go outside, I immediately went to go and find a mask. That's how much I distrust the news. That's how little I believe. It's not just that I don't believe what they're saying, it's as if I know they're lying to me. And I hear this and I think they're trying to get people sick again. You know, I sit here and I go, oh, the masks do no good, the masks do no good, the masks do no... And then finally the media comes out and says, you no longer need to wear the mask. And I'm like, they're trying to get people sick. But the truth is they're trying to get people sick by wearing the mask. And quite possibly now, when the COVID is waning, they're going, oh, we got to get more people sick, because otherwise the COVID might actually go away. We don't want it to go away. You know, is that a really fucked up brain, or does that make sense to you guys? Because it's quite possibly both, right? And this could be the one of the objectives, is that people that are critical thinkers are being, you know, pushed to this point to where even, you know, basic logic is impossible to use, because, you know, they're going back and forth between what's real and how big a threat things are. And it comes to this point to where when they say something and you absolutely know that they're misinforming you, you know, and they said something different the day before about the same subject, that is a very difficult battlefield to have to negotiate through. Okay? And I feel like there's this weight that's beginning to squash down everybody, right? And for me, it feels like this weight may be much worse than it was during COVID right now. And it's weird, right? Because the COVID just like it squashed 50% of small businesses in America, and the majority of them are not coming back through horrible leadership. And again, I think this is the plan, right? They want to make us on this point to where we're so weak that we can't get up and fight. We don't have the basics. We don't have baby formula. We can't be thinking about taking our government back. We got to get food for our kids. No, this is exactly the reason we have to take our government back, because they're not even providing for the little babies anymore. It's not even on their priority list, apparently. I think that $40 billion towards baby formula would probably go a long way. I could be wrong. I don't know how much baby formula is being bought and sold and such. What I do know is that it appears your family's futures are being bought and sold daily, and I just want better. That being said, and you know the thing about this thing where I talk about doing the what amazing thing did you see today, did you experience today, besides my beautiful Boo Bear. He's such a beautiful Boo Bear. You're my beautiful baby. What beautiful thing, what amazing thing did you see? See, there's these two sides to it, right? There's this side where we help people see that there are amazing, beautiful things going on to be experienced all around them. I talk about this a lot, but it's very passing. I don't spend a lot of time on it. We could change the whole format of the show to be that. And my real concern about doing that is that then maybe I become one of the distractions. Instead of trying to push the instead of trying to bring people together to take our government back, I would be distracting them with little pleasures that are happening in their world all around them, to quite possibly completely distract them from this evil thing that's actually going on, that we should probably be concerned with before all the manatees die, because once all the manatees die, everyone else is close behind. But there's this beautiful thing that happened to me today, this amazing thing that I have to tell you about. Oh my God. I don't know. I mean, I do that. I tell you about these things that I experience, but it's not the focus. It's not, but maybe it should be, but maybe it would be bad if it is. I gotta go heat up my tea. We will talk now about freedom of the press, and apparently that we don't have any such thing. I'll be right back. Thanks for tuning in.
Glad you made it back, everybody. There's a new poll out there from Schoen and Cooperman. The research shows Americans are united in opposing big tech's power over news and information. 76% view censorship as a threat to the free press, such as it is. Joining me now is political strategist and author of America Unite or Die, Doug Schoen. Hey, Doug, always good to see you, man. The Department of Homeland Security announced the creation of a disinformation governance board, a thinly veiled ministry of truth. Here's Jen Psaki defending it today.
Let me be clear on exactly what this board does, or what the work they are doing does. And in their announcement, which is publicly available on the Department of Homeland Security website for anyone to read, it says, quote, "The primary mission is to establish best practices to ensure that efforts to understand and respond to disinformation are done in ways that protect privacy, civil rights, and civil liberties, and the right to free speech."
Doug, as a Democrat, do you see anywhere in the Constitution that allows the government to do this, to police speech in the United States?
Well, I don't see any place in the Constitution, Chris, where it gives the government the role to determine unilaterally what disinformation is. I think that is contrary to the whole notion of what free speech is, as enshrined in the Constitution. So this whole idea makes me nervous, and the strictures that have been placed on it that, well, rest assured, we'll use best practices and, protect privacy and the like, give me no comfort at all.
Well, and they shouldn't. And again, this is a power the federal government doesn't deserve. And the Salcedo Show axiom states, it is best not to give government more power lest it be abused. And I'm sorry, the current party in power, Doug, loves to abuse power. Most Americans don't like censorship. Many Democrats are distressed over free speech returning to Twitter, though, if Elon Musk keeps his word, that is. Do you think the vast majority of your party is kind of out of step with American ideals, in particular free speech?
Well, if you look at the polls now, which show that the midterm elections are likely to be a complete rout for the Republicans, I'm of the view that my party is out of touch with the mainstream. We elected Joe Biden as a centrist. He's governed as a leftist. And I think my party is not reflecting where America is and where common sense is.
Well, no truer words. I can't disagree with that. MyPillow CEO Mike Lindell got banned again from Twitter. His account was permanently banned back in January 2021 for repeatedly pointing out irregularities in the last presidential election. He created a new account on Sunday, but then got quickly suspended. Do you think any company that claims to be an American company ought to be silencing their customers?
Well, I don't want to make specific comments about individuals, yes or no. What I would say is that in the Musk regime, I would suggest a wholesale review of the whole process of who is banned, if anyone is banned, having categories of different types of communication and only looking at that speech, forms of speech that are just pure hate speech or that appear to enslave largely around the world ethnic and racial minorities based on ethnic and racial criteria. But my bias would be for a wholesale revisiting of the issue in a way that presumptively protects speech and does not bar anyone.
Okay, well, yeah, because hate speech is different things, different people. Maybe another discussion for another day.
I think that's right.
But
I think that's
yeah,
fair.
primaries are heating up in Pennsylvania. Trump has endorsed a celebrity candidate there, Dr. Oz, but polling shows no clear favorite in that race. In Ohio, though, Trump's pick J.D. Vance surging ahead. Put your analyst hat on here, Doug. How do you see these races panning out in some of the high-profile primary races?
Right now, I think you have to give a narrow advantage to J.D. Vance, largely and singularly because of the endorsement of the former president. That's number one. That race could still go another direction. Josh Mandel has heavy support from the Club for Growth. So that is still yet to be determined. In Pennsylvania, I had always thought that David McCormick, barring a Trump endorsement, would win the Republican primary to face Lieutenant Governor Fetterman. But right now, given the Trump endorsement and the polls showing, as you say, Chris, the race effectively deadlocked, I'd say it's 50-50 and could go either way.
Doug Schoen, always appreciate the visit. Don't be a stranger. Thank you, sir.
Screw your freedom. Screw your freedom. Screw your freedom. Screw your freedom. Screw your freedom.
Okay, so do you think social media is bad for you? And how bad is social media for you? Because I'm pretty sure it's bad for you. So how do we correct these things? How do we make these things good for us? You know, it's like I'm saying with this fighting Big Brother or whatever it is very difficult to do with Big Brother's tools, though it can be done. That being said, you know, after all, it's not easy banging your heart against some mad bugger's wall, right? It's this thing where I don't know how long you're supposed to just keep pounding this same fucking wall that never fucking loses a chip out of it, you know? I mean, we see bad things. There's so much bad things happening. And I just feel like there's good things that I could be focusing on, you know? Hello, caller.
Hello, Michael.
What's up, Jay?
Michael Mox.
What's happening?
Just 9:01 on the West Coast. Same old shit. I'm feeling good. I got my Dr. Pepper right here, and I got a pipe of weed, and you know I bought I bought two glass pipes, right? And I got tile floors all over my house. Right?
Good plan.
I drop them, they break. So I bought this nice Gandalf wooden pipe, fucking killer, for $10. It's so good. I'm so old school. You could run over it with a tractor and it wouldn't fucking break. So I'm doing good. Remember, before the internet, they didn't have social media. But we had newspapers, we had magazines, we had the rags in the right in the grocery stores next to the checkout counters. What were they called? What was a major rags that had all the movie stars in them? We still got them, right? But we didn't have shit.
Well, we had swinger magazines where people would communicate that way in the magazine, in the media, you know.
I don't want to know about your sex life.
Well, no, that's just one thing. I'm sure that I was thinking, what other things are there besides that? But yeah, no, I mean,
no, you know what I'm talking. The Hollywood rags. That's all.
Oh yeah.
Up in movie stars and Marilyn Monroe. And
right. No, but I'm talking about being interactive with the media, like we are on social media. That's what I was looking for.
We never were interactive with our media until the widespread computer usage and the internet, and that's what's different about right now is that we are interactive. We're not just interactive with the media.
Well, okay, look, I had a public access television show, okay, those have been going on for a long time. It's not that, and I'm absolutely certain that, you know, there's the pirate radio, there's all these other ways where people were kind of interacting with the media, with the masses, that wasn't just this, you know, there was options there. You know, like I said, the Swingers magazines, not necessarily, but I know that there was other things that were like those magazines where people were communicating. I'm just not sure what they were.
That's true. That's very small scale. I remember in the, and those are good examples of public access. You're right. That was the first sort of internet type interactive media. It was very small scale, small viewership. I remember interactive for me in the 70s would be call up K-Rock and at 2 in the morning and request the Court of the Kings and Crimson King by King Crimson, and they'd play it. You know, that was interactive for me. But until I got a computer, I didn't know what Google was. I didn't know what Facebook was. I didn't know what Twitter was. I didn't know anything. And I can't even call myself educated, despite the fact that I was trying to educate myself. But I can't call myself educated till after I got a computer. And then I had access to every library on earth.
And then I saw the hand of God.
I saw the light. I saw the sign. I saw the sign. So I think social media is just like society. It's
social media is like church. Go ahead.
It's all mixed up. There's clean sources out there. There's really there's muddy sources. And Brzezinski, right, who was President Carter's
head of the Pentagon.
He was President Carter's foreign secretary or something like that. The guy that hired Osama bin Laden, and he said with the advent of the internet that now our plans are over. I'm paraphrasing; it's not a direct quote, but our plans are over for the New World Order because they can communicate with each other now. And so the crackdown on Twitter and YouTube, you're highly affected, dude, because you're on YouTube, and YouTube is not user-friendly for political pundits. If you express an unpopular view, whether it be political or medical, then or Zionist, I guess that's political, but
well, so is the medical at this point. By the way, go ahead.
You're going to get hammered, and the same with. And the amazing thing we saw 2 years ago was even the president of the United States can get hammered and erased.
Right.
You know, so it's good and it's bad, just like America has always been. America, and just like people have always been. It's good and it's bad. And, you know, there's this old saying, the community is the tumbler that polishes the rocks. Right? So all the rocks are in the tumbler. I don't know if you've ever seen a rock tumbler, but
I've seen a rock.
Smooth.
Banging 8-gram rocks.
And to get them smooth and polished, you put them in a tumbler, and they just bang against each other until they all get smooth. And that's where we're at. We're banging against each other. Ben Shapiro and fucking Max Blumenthal and the guy in Canada, that everybody seems to hate. I kind of like him. The teacher up there. I mean, you name it. You, me, we're all banging against each other, and we're knocking the chips off each other. And it's not going to be an easy ride. We're already 2 decades minimum into the computer age. We got a minimum of another 2 more before, if we last that long. That's my caveat. Before we actually learn how to handle this new tool. We are not quick learners. The human race is not a bunch of quick learners. And the powers that be, I hate to use that cliche, but the powers that be, or should never be, they want us dumb.
I want to say, I don't think that humans are not quick learners. I think humans as individuals can learn things very quickly. I think that humans as a society, as a culture, as a group of fucking beings on this planet, humans have been misled. So it's not a matter of them not being able to learn lessons really quickly. It's that the lessons that they learn aren't being allowed to be put into practice because of gatekeepers who want to keep the rich people as rich as possible. I just want to be clear that I don't think that humans don't learn quickly. I think that they learn things pretty quickly. I mean, we have pretty short lives, so, Yeah,
that was my next point, was the fact that everything outside of scientism and materialism and the material world that we live in now, skyscrapers, steel, cement, freeways, internet, computers, great machines, everything besides that stuff was already known by the Hellenes, the Greeks and the Romans, right? All the philosophy, there's nothing new under the sun. The knowledge of the human mind was known back then by Marcus Aurelius and all the Stoics and Plato and Aristotle. And what happens is we have, like you said, short lives. And so we live 60, 70, 80 years, 90 years if we're lucky or unlucky, I don't know. We don't pass down the knowledge. We don't raise up generations of people that have memorized the ancient wisdom and how to be a human being and how to handle adversity and how to fight against the governments, because people have been fighting against governments for 50,000 years, So what we want is to not forget these eternal truths, like how do our minds work? What does it mean to be a good person? And we're still learning that, right? We got all kinds of things like homosexuality and abortion we could fight over if we want.
Lots and lots of stuff. If you want to fight, we can do that endlessly.
Yeah. So the fact that we really don't want to lose, the Hellenistic philosophers, they were lost for several hundred years, 400 to 600 years, and then they were brought back to Europe by the Muslims. Through Spain, and they had saved all of the writings of Plato and Aristotle and all the Hellenes and stuff. And so we don't want to lose these great bodies of information and history and education. And that's the best thing about the internet, is as long as somebody doesn't block it, we can keep the knowledge of humanity on the internet. But we're arguing about Johnny Depp and Amber Heard and abortion and fucking stupid things.
Climate change,
you name it, wokeism and politics, and just as long as there's bread, we'll go to the circus. It's all bread and circuses, and I don't buy into that. I'm still in the process of educating myself, and I appreciate to God, I swear to God, I appreciate my computer and the internet and the way that I use it. And I'm not even computer savvy. I don't want to get into coding. I don't want to, I still don't have, I just want to learn. And I want accurate information. And that's the one thing our magnificent, awesome rulers don't want us to have is accurate information. Because eventually we'll shut down the wars. We'll shut down the corruption. We'll point out the criminals in our governments. They don't want that. So this Brzezinski was right. We have the capacity now to kill the New World Order. And Joe Biden and his dancing fucking black-haired Empress of Nothing, the Ministry of Truth lady, and they don't want that guy's so corrupt. I want to hear people argue on TV and the internet and YouTube, and I want to be able to absorb different perspectives and say, oh, that guy's right about this, but he's wrong about those 9 things, and he's just mixing truth with lies to try, because he's got an agenda. I'm smart enough to figure it out, and so is everybody else. We just want, we want the marketplace of ideas and information. That's what we want, and that's what they want to take away from us, is the marketplace of ideas and information, because we're all terrorists. We don't know what we're doing. I remember Obama one time said, well, something like, you guys, you're not smart enough to rule yourselves, or something like that. And that was like the most arrogant, narcissistic, anti-American, anti-freedom thing anyone could have ever said. That we, the people, we're not smart enough to make our own decisions or rule ourselves. Yes, we are. Fuck you, Obama. So I just want the marketplace of ideas, and I'll sort it out myself. I don't need the government Ministry of Truth to tell me what I can or can't watch. If people want to watch porn, fine. I would rather have some history channel on, or some political channel on that is unadulterated, and nobody's filtering out information. If we didn't have the internet, Syria would be gone. There'd be no resemblance.
Let alone Gaza.
And Gaza, and there's still, we keep them in check with our cell phones and our videos, and the cops would be all over us with no legal recourse if we didn't have this technology right now. So we have the tools to beat the fuck out of them, the liars, and the governments, and the police. And so I'm in favor of social media, but I don't like the fact that it's so polluted. It's like, it's an atmosphere all unto itself now, social media, and it's very polluted. And I remember, I grew up in L.A., I remember in the 70s, pollution was a real bad thing, where you couldn't see more than a couple miles,
Pollution is the problem. Climate change is not the problem. Pollution is this thing that we can all agree we do too much. That's one of the things humans do too much. This is one of the things that must be resolved. Otherwise, there's no hope. And this fucking carbon tax bullshit does nothing. Okay, except for make the cost of your shit more expensive. Go ahead.
And in that area of thought, Biden, I guess, is despite gas prices being above $6 in many places, except Russia.
Craig's paying. He's in Canada right now. He's paying $7+ a gallon.
Yeah, well, that kind of sounds like a plan. Let's squeeze the people and tell them there's a problem and it's all Putin's fault. And it's not like we robbed you enough during the COVID, the 2.5 years of COVID. We're going to squeeze you now, create more homelessness, and guess what? Global warming, so we can't pump any more gas in America. We'll just produce electric cars, and we'll put solar panels on the roof, and we'll change the world, but in the meantime, food shortages, gas is $7. It's like Biden is a puppet of the New World Order. And I hate to be cliche like that, but it's pretty obvious. So is Trudeau. Obvious and documented puppet of the New World Order. Biden should go to jail. The people in Canada think Trudeau should go to jail for quite a number of things that I'm not qualified to speak on. But, man, the internet is a good thing, and we need to keep using it, and we need to purify it as best we can. And
well, that's the kind of thing that Joe Biden administration is saying too. So we need it to be the wild, wild west. That's what we need it to be. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. Okay, you know what? Here's the deal. Okay, we can go, oh, we don't want people selling fucking ghost guns on the internet, right? Okay, FBI, let's pass a law, and you can't do it. Don't shut the websites down. Just go and take those people out that are buying, that are selling them. And you know why? Because you have everything right there. But if people want to fucking look at that stuff, and I'm just using this as an example, okay? They're acting like, oh, we have to shut down this website. We have to shut down Twitter because it's going to become a bastion for people selling illicit drugs, right? Again, you have all the information you want to prosecute whoever for doing illegal things on the internet, and you're supposed to be doing that on a regular basis. So don't act like we have to fucking get control of this speech. No, you have to you have to prosecute these things that you say are illegal. Don't fuck it up for the rest of us, basically.
Yeah, instead of the FBI setting up stings and coercing people into attacking governors.
Yeah, among other things.
Yeah, among other things, Oklahoma City. You could name a million things the FBI has been involved in. They concentrate on us not being able to have free speech. They want to track us everywhere we go. They were suggesting $600 bank transactions should be marked by the IRS. It's like, no, right. Dude. When I go to the store, I see lines of people going through the automatic checkout. I avoid those machines like crazy, and I just use cash as much as I possibly can, and that's a very effective way that one single person can fight the New World Order, is you fight the machines, number one. You fight mechanization, and you keep people employed. The checker at the store is better than the machine, and you keep her employed, and you use cash. You use your card if you have to.
She's better if she don't have to wait an extra 10 minutes to get there because you only have 3 items that you're buying, and the 2 people in front of you at the cashier has fucking full carts.
I don't care if I got 10 people in front of me with full carts and I'm buying a bag of chips. I still won't use a machine.
You don't care. You don't care. You'll just sit there patiently and be as happy as can be that you have to wait for 10 people in front of you when there's an open space right there to go over and get out of here in the next 2 minutes. It makes more sense to you to stand there waiting.
Yeah, because I'm fighting the New World Order. I'm fighting the good fight, like Jesus. Like Jesus in Babylon.
Oh, okay. Now we understand why you're suffering for all of us. We get it now.
No, seriously. I just did it last week. I just refuse to use the machines. I refuse it. It's like, and they talk to you too. It's like, someone is coming to help, and they'll repeat it. Someone is coming to help you. Someone is coming to help you. Welcome to Vaughn's. Welcome to this store or that store. It's like, fuck you! I don't want to talk to a machine. I got robots calling me on the phone, pretending they're people. It's crazy, Mike, and it's not even a fantasy, a product of marijuana ingestion. It happens for everybody. Ask Craig. If you don't answer the phone at your house, Craig gets all those calls. Hi, my name is Bob, and I'm from Odysseus.
What, do you talk to these people?
No, they're robots, man.
I know. Those robots will be happy to respond to you. So if you talk to them, they'll talk back with you. They'll have a nice conversation, in case you don't know that.
I'm weird because I won't even pick up the phone until I know who's on the other end. I'm weird that way. So I just get the messages. I never talk to robots. I don't interact with robots. Rarely. But I think that's an effective way to keep things local. You know, you're keeping the girl, the checker at Vons or whatever store, liquor store, employed by interacting with her. Because, you know, what are they going to do with all the people that the robots take away their jobs? And there's still people walking around with masks. Everywhere I go, it's like, what is wrong with you? They've made people afraid of the atmosphere, and the fucking plague is over.
They're not afraid of the atmosphere. They're afraid of you.
Probably. And
that was the whole plan to start with. They're afraid that when they go to the store, there's going to be somebody without a mask, and if that person breathes in their general area, that they could die. That's what they believe. So you and you and you are all a threat to them. And I think that we'll probably begin to see some shootings going on. Actually, I believe we've seen stuff like that over the whole mask controversy. But I think it might get worse. Go ahead.
Why would you think it's going to get worse?
Because as soon as the election's over, the shit's coming back, dude. I told you it was going to be over in time for the election, and now I'm telling you that it's coming back as soon as the election's over. And a lot of people are going to be, fuck you.
So when's the election? What are you presidential election?
No, 2022, November, okay?
Oh, the Congress.
Yes.
Oh, well, you're the one who's telling me.
I told you that it was going to be over just in time for the 2022 election, and lo and behold, it is. Go ahead.
Well, you also told me that it doesn't matter if you got an R or a D in front of your name. They're both on the same side, so it doesn't matter who wins.
It doesn't matter who wins. It's better not to identify that way because that is the fucking problem. This identity of I'm a D, I'm left, I'm right, I'm conservative, I'm liberal. That's the problem. That's the reason that nothing good happens in this country.
Well, what's your opinion of social media? Because you like your YouTube channel, but I don't see you as a social media type of guy. You would be on Twitter. You would be on Facebook.
The only thing I've ever done on the internet socially is to share YouTube links. Or actually, I had a web page back in the late 90s, early 2000s, and I would post on that. But it was never about doing this like, oh, I made contact with this person, I made contact with that person. I made contact with Glenn Greenwald by him seeing the videos that I'm posting on YouTube and then retweeting those posts. Okay, and by Glenn Greenwald tweeting those posts, that means that Julian Assange knows about Mox News. That means that Edward Snowden knows about Mox News, and a whole bunch of other people. Okay, so I don't have to do anything more. I don't have to reach out to them. I don't have to do this. I don't have to do that. I don't have to interact. I'm not looking for friends and it's not something new. Okay, it's like when I had my television show and I would get 100 people a day calling me, I'd respond to 2 or 3 or 4, and that was just because they were potential business deals. So,
well, I think you found your niche, which is what you're doing. I mean, you've kind of pared it down, and you don't follow the old name of your. The public access out of Washington that you used to post all the time. Your original name was
Mike Hunt.
No.
Yes, it was. My original public access name was Mike Hunt. Now, what were you saying?
The guy that reviews all the books and the authors and the politicians out of Washington on the Washington-based public access that you used to follow all the time. and you used to grab videos from them, and you said they came after you. I can't remember.
The pirate TV guys?
No, the guy with the bald head that interviews all the authors and politicians and God, why can't I think of that? And they came after your name on your show, and you changed it to Mox News because...
oh, the C-SPAN came after me. The vice president of C-SPAN said, you're not allowed to use that name, C-SPAN junkie.
Right. Yeah. And so you were really involved in social media because you grabbed their videos and you reposted them. I guess they call that mirroring, right?
Yeah, they were upset because their videos were getting more views than on my page than they were on their page. That's what they were upset about.
But you don't seem to do that too much anymore. So you found your niche. You've contracted your media footprint, and you're comfortable doing what you're doing.
Honestly, I'm not. I don't think that this. I keep talking about how I don't know that I'm adding goodness to the discussion, the continuum, because it just is all this negative shit as opposed to, there's good things in the world. Although I do bring those up too. It's just all this negative stuff. Oh, I don't know. I'm not really comfortable. I keep talking, last few days, I keep talking about changing format. So when I was just posting video after video after video, I was very comfortable. And I was on the front page of the Huffington Post every fucking day. Okay, so I was very comfortable. I was in my niche there. People would contact me and say that they thought that there was 7 or 8 people working Mox News YouTube page because of all the content. I would put out sometimes 30 videos a day. Okay, that was not.
Ran out of hard drives, yeah.
Yeah, I got 20 or 30 hard drives just in the bookcase over there, a bunch more in the closet, and then I have like 5,000 DVDs. So
I got a video of you probably 15 years ago begging for money so you could buy more hard drives. That's how come I know that.
Yeah.
I know that's what you used to do, and I know you probably don't have that much of. You don't store so much shit anymore.
I don't grab a whole lot of stuff anymore.
Yeah.
It's just the media has changed a lot since back in the day. There used to be alternate voices. There used to be discussions on 9/11. There used to be Julian Assanges and people who were standing up for against war, against the war machine. Trying to fight for what really would make a difference for humans. And I don't see that anymore in the media.
Well, the pendulum, when you get old like me, you see the pendulum swinging back and forth. It goes from conservative to liberal and conservative to liberal, and there's always been this clash between
Which is the problem. Go ahead.
Yeah, it is a problem, for sure, because I don't want Strom Thurmond making rules for me that I can't wear hot pants as a man. I want to wear hot pants as a man, Strom Thurmond, and they're still arguing about abortion. It's like, my God, I thought we settled that in 73. What's the big deal now? And it's almost like they invent stuff for us to fight about, and we don't want to be divided like that. We got more important things to concentrate on, like the survival of the human race and getting America into some sane and compassionate world power. It doesn't have to me, it doesn't have to be number one. I think we're definitely moving into a multipolar world, and these are the birth pangs of a multipolar world, and let's hope we don't fucking blow it all up and kill every species on Earth before that happens, before some kind of post-internet sanity can set in. But if you're future-minded, you can do many things. You can go work on a farm and grow your own vegetables and be a hoarder of guns and canned goods, or you can keep pushing on the internet and trying to keep it open and free and keep yourself educated with your finger on the pulse of the global bullshit that's happening, and you can point out the bad guys, and you can try to free Julian Assange. And I see you jump up when there's a big thing like the trucker thing in Canada. You woke right up. You were right on that, as soon as it happened. So you were right on Occupy Wall Street. So when the next big thing comes up, you're not going to be able to, just go out in the backyard and grow some weed. You're going to jump on it because that's where your heart's at, But I can understand you wanting to pull back from the bullshit.
I get on it because I see this, this propaganda bullshit, and that I am able to twist the propaganda bullshit into something that puts it into a completely different perspective. That's what I've experienced, what I've done on the internet. That's the way I perceive it. So, and I think that that's probably a pretty important job. So when something immediately is happening, I will step into place to try and, share it with the people that, are interested.
I can't see you moving out into the forest and becoming a hermit, dude. Your life seems to be geared towards social change, even though the current situation, to quote Steve McClanahan, it's fucked up. Shit's fucked up, it's fucked up. The internet's fucked up. Social media's fucked up. Everybody's fighting.
Well,
you got to take a step back.
Yeah.
Just for your own sanity. I'm doing it.
Yeah. Well, I've been thinking not so much about moving into the forest, but how nice it would be just to, have a dog and walk down the West Coast, walk from, Seattle down the coast to, Northern California. That might be a really nice way to go,
Hey, well, don't stop there. You can come down and visit me. I'll pick you up halfway, so you don't have to walk so far. But get some good boots. Get some good boots.
Yeah. No, I can't walk in shitty shoes.
No, man, especially not that far. So, yeah, shit is fucked up. I know it's fucked up, but I'm not going to sit in my room and listen to my radio and leave me alone. I want my microwave, my steel-belted radios, and just leave me alone. I'm not going to be like that guy in Network. I'm going to stick my head out the fucking window and scream, shit's fucked up, and I'm not going to take it anymore, That's the way I am. And if I have to crack a bunch of jokes to make people go, wow, or if I have to scream
I heard a joke last night. You want to hear it? It's like,
yeah, go ahead.
What is the last thing a stripper does with her asshole before she goes to work? She drops him off at band practice. Duh.
That's a good one. That's pretty good. Okay. Yeah, well, I don't know, man. Yeah, you stumped me, Mike. I have no words.
I was talking to a friend last night about, I know a lot of strippers, and he used to work at a strip club, and I was talking about how, they're all attracted to money, right? Strippers are all attracted to money, but they always have these boyfriends who refuse to work. And they find that fascinating. At least the hot young ones.
Well, I don't know.
I know strippers is a difficult topic for you.
Yeah, because of my religious upbringing, that's like I'm all blushing right now, and I'm wondering, I'm questioning my own sexuality. It's like, well, what kind of stripper, Mike? Could be a male stripper. You never know.
I just said young hot ones.
Yeah, well, whatever. But the point is, you can flap your lips like the lady from Mississippi said, but when the shit hits the fan, you ain't gonna stay in your backyard. You're gonna get on the fucking YouTube and you're gonna point the shit out, and you're gonna yell and you're gonna get excited and you're gonna say some logical, truthful things about whatever the fuck is happening. And that's just the way I see you. You're a lot like me. It's like I can't when shit happens, I can't keep my mouth shut. It's my job to fucking bring it to public attention, you know?
Well, it's all of our responsibility. You know, if we don't speak out, then it's not going to change. That's the way that I perceive things, and that's really why I've done this thing on YouTube. And no, I really have never done anything on Facebook or on Twitter. I used to tweet my videos. That was it. I wouldn't go, oh, this video is about this. I just tweet a link to my videos. That was it. I did that on something else too. Reddit. I would go on Reddit and I would just tweet a link to my video, and they love me. You know, I would just post a link to my video, and it was a very, very busy channel back in the day.
Well, when I was on Twitter pretty heavy, I used to talk to Julian Assange's mom a lot, quite a bit. I used to talk to this guy Allah in Egypt who is still fucking in prison 11, 12 years later. He's still in fucking prison for doing nothing but being an activist, you know, just going on Twitter. In Egypt, you can't go on Twitter. And he didn't do nothing. And he had a brand new baby. I used to talk to him and his sister a lot, and people on the ground in Gaza and Syria and Libya. And so I like Twitter because you get instant information when the shit is hitting the fan. A bomb just went off on, you know, Habib Street, you know. That's the good thing about Twitter. But Facebook is a pile of shit, and YouTube is, you got to be very selective. So, and the legacy media, their numbers are going down, 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 down.
Yeah.
And other people's numbers are going up, 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 up. And Johnny Depp is a big distraction this week, and Ukraine took a backseat to Johnny Depp. I couldn't believe it. And the people still think Russia's the bad guy. So you know, there's...
Which people? Where do you get the information that people think Russia is the bad guy?
Oh, fuck, man. Take a poll, not of your listeners, but and you'll see it's way above. It's above 60% of Americans think Russia is the bad guy. They're in favor of Ukraine. Of course, fuck Yemen, fuck Yemen, fuck the kids in Yemen and all the starvation.
And Gaza.
But the Ukrainian kids, you know, U2 just threw a concert in Ukraine 3 days ago.
Yeah.
So where's all the fucking bombs? You know, how come Bono isn't running for his life?
Right.
So, you know,
which is the live cameras that we show every day. Where's all the fucking bombs? Where's all the emergency vehicles? Where's all the fucking armory that we're sending there? All the contractors, all the military vehicles. You know, every day, day after day, for what, 80 days, 90 days now?
And Sean Penn last month was on the mainstream media saying, you know, America shouldn't be shy about using nuclear weapons. You know, it's like, how stupid can you get when you got people like Sean Penn and Bono pretending they're going to save the world and they got some educated fucking opinion? Well, that's what free speech is. You know, Bono gets to shoot his mouth off, and I get to shoot my mouth off right back at him. Fuck you, man. I don't care how many good songs you write. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And that's what the internet should be. That's what the public discourse should be. That's the marketplace of ideas that we need. But they shut out the voices that are terrorist voices, you know, the deplorable voices, and the rest is a psyop. It's like,
well, it's not so much that they're terrorists or deplorables as they're disinformation voices, right? They're not letting you. They're not. What they're telling you is a lie, and you are not able to figure that out on your own. So we're not letting you hear that because it could be dangerous for you. For all of us.
Yeah, well, if I didn't know, you know, we've never met, so I don't really know you. But if I didn't know you better, Mike, if I hadn't got used to your personality and come across you multiple times, and I would say get a bigger social media profile. But I don't think that's in the cards or what you should do. I think you should take care of you and jump on the political thing when the shit is happening, just like what you're doing.
When is it not happening right now? Yeah. You know, again, if there's something really going down, okay, I'm only doing this Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday because again, I there's stuff to talk about, but it's again, I don't know that I'm adding anything positive to the people who come and listen, so. I only want to not add positive things to your life 3 days a week. But as I've told you, if something is actually happening, you don't have to watch the news. If you tune into the news, you pull up CNN, you pull up Fox, if they're talking about anything but legitimate breaking news and you see that there's something happening, if there's a goddamn commercial on CNN or Fox, you know there's no information on there that you actually need to have right now in this moment. If they're talking about Tom Brady, if they're talking about Johnny Depp, you know that there's nothing really happening that you need to know. But if there's something really happening that you need to know right now, I guarantee Mox News will be here. And that these fucking lame-ass mainstream media people, if there's something you need to know from them. And let me put this into a little better perspective. When that meteor hit Russia, what was it, 3 years ago? Right?
Fucking 5 years ago. 5 years ago.
Okay, that meteor hit Russia within half an hour. Mox News had video of it going over an apartment complex, I'm not sure, somewhere in Russia, right? And someone had sent me that video and said, this is for you because I know you'll publish it. And I had it up in 30 minutes of the meteor hitting Russia, right? CNN was talking about some fucking cruise ship that had just come in after weeks at sea because they had some fucking norovirus or whatever, right? For 8 hours, CNN didn't have it on the air. Russia Today didn't have it on the air for 2 hours, you know, trying to figure out what it was that was happening. I had it up on YouTube in less than an hour. So if something's really happening, I will make sure that you know about it as quickly as possible. I guarantee it. Right now, you turn on CNN, commercial, Johnny Depp, fucking Tom Brady. Unless you're some kind of a sports person, there's nothing you need to know there. Okay? Otherwise, they'd be talking about this one subject that you have to know right now that's really important, and they wouldn't take commercial breaks, and they wouldn't interrupt it with Johnny Depp bullshit. So, just so you know. Again, and you don't got to watch any of it. You can just check it real fast and go, yeah, there's nothing here. Or you can realize that if there is something to see, Mox News will let you know right away.
I should send you a walking stick, Mike. I have a friend who's a wizard and a wood carver, and he carves these beautiful walking sticks, and I have one in this room somewhere. I should send you that motherfucker.
Well, if the wizard made that stick for you,
No. He didn't make it for me.
Okay.
He made it for somebody else. I just happened to have it because he left it behind. So, but yeah, he's a pretty famous wood carver in this town, and he throws the ruins, you know, the ancient ruins, and he knows about them. And
I think it's pronounced.
I think it's pronounced about your hike. You know,
it's pronounced runes, not ruins. I think.
Yeah, ruins.
Yeah, ruins.
Yeah, ruins. That's what I said, man.
You said ruins.
Yeah, ruins.
No, it's pronounced ruins.
So,
it's pronounced Iraq, not Iraq. Figure it out.
No, I know that, you know, one of the things that really irks me about the internet is all these fake fucking activists. Everybody's going to save the fucking world, and they know the history of the Illuminati and everything, and it's the Jesuits, and it's this, and it's that, and, you know, and it's like, it's so much fucking bullshit. So you're not in that category, because I think you're always going to care about humanity and society. So I just,
And I say again and again that I don't know. Chris just called about a black hole at the center of our galaxy, and he said, scientists know now that there's a black hole. I said, do you know? Because I don't know. And I'm gonna make sure that I have voiced clearly that I don't know that things are true. I will say that, this is what I see happening, and logically, what they're saying doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I must have missed that. I didn't know Chris called. What is 9:47, almost 10. So, yeah, man, I'm pulling away from the craziness, but I keep occasionally, every day I try to find out what's going on and try to bypass all the bullshit. Yeah, you don't even have time to click on 99 out of 100 links. You can just tell it's bullshit by the channel and the headline. But every once in a while you find something interesting, and I just go through it as quick as I can because I got other shit to do. And you're right, there's not much happening, man. It's just Johnny Depp and
it's a distraction.
Joe Biden. That's it. And Johnny Depp's much smarter than Joe Biden.
You really don't need to hear what Joe Biden is saying. There'll be clips,
So, have a good weekend, and I believe in you, and I know that you're not a fake activist, and I completely understand why anybody would have a psychological, spiritual, emotional necessity to back away from the bullshit, step away from the shit. And I've done the same thing, it's like I'm concentrating on, I'm just prepping for the next thing, just chill until the next episode. I don't know what it's going to be, but it's not going to be a black hole at the center of the galaxy. And if it is, I'm just going to turn on Black Hole Sun and it gets sucked into the fucking black hole, man.
Fucking, I miss Chris Cornell so much, man. I was one of the greatest voices of all time.
He lived here in Ojai for a while.
He lived here in Seattle for a while, too.
Yeah, and I think back 22 years ago, 25 years ago, the guy I'm working for now, his name is Leroy, and he's a crazy fucking astrologer, and crazy dude. He buys big houses and properties and acreage and develops them. And I remember this one giant mansion way at the top of Foothill 25 years ago he owned, and we were going through it, and it's like a giant mansion. I mean, it's giant. And we found some of the baffles, the sound baffles that were 2 foot thick, and apparently U2 was renting that house before Leroy bought it, and left some of their baffles behind, and they recorded up there for the Joshua Tree album. I don't know how many years ago that was, but and Chris Cornell, I think, rented the same house later on.
I'm just
saying,
man,
he's a good guy.
I don't know if he's a good guy or not, but it's like one of the greatest voices. His pipes, man. I love his voice, and I definitely miss it.
Yeah, a good singer can keep a good tone and add the raspiness necessary for rock and roll and switch off, put a lot of inflections. And just as Jimmy Page plays with a lot of emotion, and that's why we like Led Zeppelin, all the great singers sing with a lot of emotion. And I found that, the first track, the first take, a lot of times is a keeper. The first vocal track you do, it's probably going to be the one you put out. And I'm not putting out professional records, so I don't really give a fuck. But that, emotion is the key to good vocals and good leads. And yeah, he was a good singer. I like him. And that's a classic song, Black Hole Sun. So
great. He just had a great voice, dude.
All right, I'll talk to you next week. Have a good weekend.
All right, talk to you later.
Bye.
So buddy Mike from Southern California. And I'm not talking about recording, and I'm not talking about the first take, and I'm not talking about YouTube, and I'm not talking about all these things that he was talking about. I was saying I miss Chris Cornell's voice. Chris Cornell's voice filled my soul. So I miss him, and it's sad that I know a lot of other people do too. All right. So I'm gonna play another video because I have another one to play, and then I'll come back. I'm gonna go heat up my tea, and then I will come back and we'll see what there is to do then. So be right back. Thanks so much for tuning in. It's always better when you're here.
When the deal goes through, will Trump come too? Elon Musk today saying once Twitter is all bought and buttoned up, he will let the former president back on the platform. Watch.
It was not correct to ban Donald Trump. I think that was a mistake because it alienated a large part of the country and did not ultimately result in Donald Trump not having a voice. I guess the answer is that I would reverse the perma-ban.
Oh, perma-ban and permatan. Trump has told Fox News he will not return to Twitter, but the door now apparently ajar. Will Trump take Elon's bait? I would like to think so. The party panel is back. Alexander Wilkes, Juan Williams, and Hannah Cox. So, Hannah, what do you think of Elon Musk and some of his pronouncements that Twitter hews left and that it was wrong to ban Donald Trump for good and that he would let him back? Is this a good thing?
Well, what I think is Elon Musk wakes up every day and thinks, what do I have to do to put on my based crown this morning? And then he does that thing because he just consistently knocks it out of the park. I've never heard somebody at his level be so consistently right about our political system and what's been happening lately. I love to see him say these things. And it's so funny because we give him all this praise for saying things that are actually just quite obvious. Twitter has had a left-wing bias. There's no arguing that. They kicked off Donald Trump. Meanwhile, they're letting ISIS and the Communist Party of China tweet. Like, come on, guys. But it's also funny to watch the left melt down over him saying these very obvious things because they're just not used to having to confront the truth, it seems. But I think his new policies for Twitter look great. It seems like he has a pretty based approach to the First Amendment, actually cares about free speech, and is trying to think deeply through how to moderate content in a way that makes sure there's not illegal activity happening, which is important. We want to make sure there's not porn being put on there or children being trafficked on there and that kind of thing, while still making sure that he upholds free speech. So I'm hoping that he gets to go through this purchase. And I want to say one thing. Republicans need to be really careful right now because a lot of them have been advocating for things like giving the FTC and the DOJ more power through antitrust.
Yes.
And trying to give them the ability to block deals like this. And they're about to have to eat sand, basically, because when you're not principled, you set yourself up for failure long term. We need to be consistent capitalists.
Yes, they're not true Randians as they should be. So Juan Williams, as Hannah points out, there are people on the left who say if Donald Trump goes back on Twitter, I'm leaving for good and I'm going to leave the country and I'm going to move to Canada eventually. Are you melting down, Juan? You must be kind of delighted because it will be nice to see the 45th president blow a few dog whistles for the media.
Dog whistles. I think people have accused him of that before. By the way, I didn't say the Americans should send their own troops in. I think Ukrainians should defeat Russia. I think Russia has to be defeated. It's the best interest of the entire Western world. So I just wanted to clear that up from the previous segment.
Elon Musk is trying to help with that as well, Juan, but people are awful mad at him. He's also trying to save the globe with his electric cars.
Well, yesterday he was saying that maybe, he wouldn't be alive because the Russians were threatening to blow him up in space or something. But here's the thing. I was just listening to what you guys were saying about Twitter. What do you mean Twitter wasn't fair to Donald Trump? Twitter made Donald Trump. Donald Trump was all over Twitter as an alternate way to reach his base for years. It was his primary source of connecting with the American people. And it was only when there was the obvious January 6th event and all of his possible, provocations that encouraged that bad behavior that was a threat to our very form of government that Twitter finally said, hey, this can't be. This shouldn't be. And I think that was right. I think Elon Musk is now coming in after the fact and saying, well, you know what, that alienated a lot of the Trump base from Twitter. I don't think so.
Well,
I think people who
I think
love
you've
Twitter,
made your own point. They were trying
create...
to deprive him of the necessary political oxygen that turned him into a viable candidate. So that's what Twitter did for him. And by making sure he didn't have that, they assumed that he would just wither on the vine, and that hasn't happened either. And that's what Elon Musk is saying.
He tried to create his own...
left Twitter when he was kicked off permanently, and he wants it to be a town square where people who disagree with each other can still have conversations.
Yeah, but it's a town square when you can respond in the way that the four of us are talking here tonight. It's not a town square when there's no response because everybody's in their own little rabbit hole and saying obnoxious, crude, and violent things.
Yes, well, that's not all of Twitter. And, you know, it's a lot of Twitter, thanks to the Ayatollah. Let me ask you about this, Alexander. Where do we go from here? Do you think the former president will be back on this platform since, you know, he had so many followers?
We'll have to see. You know, he's always full of surprises. But what I think that the advocates of censorship really missed the mark on is they fail to ask a very basic question, which is they can't, you know, basically what good has come from an act of censorship on a platform like Twitter. And I think that the bottom line is that you can't really point to any, but you can point to plenty of examples of where there was actual harm done, where the New York Post, for example, being suspended right before the election about the Hunter Biden story, and then ended up being true, where we've just seen example after example of this happen. It's why when there's a government actor involved, actually, that any attempt to issue a prior restraint on that free speech is so rigorously guarded by the courts under the First Amendment. So you could see why, you know, why censorship fails. And I wish that Twitter could go back to the old days where it was a self-correcting free marketplace of ideas. If somebody got something wrong, it was immediately retweeted and corrected for people to see. And I think that free flow of information is something I hope that he brings back.
Yes, and I hope that he buys us all nice Bulgari baubles. And I'm glad you brought up the New York Post, because speaking of unhinged on social media, the administration's new disinformation czar, Nina Jankowicz, apparently has a real penchant for spreading disinformation. The Queen of Cringe has reportedly shared debunked claims about Trump-Russia collusion since 2016. Old school. Republicans furious. House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy just announced support for a bill that would dismantle the entire Disinformation Governance Board, also known as the Ministry of Truth. So how did Jankowicz end up in charge of this horror show? And Hannah Cox, are people so busy that they can't do basic vetting of someone who's given such great responsibility over what constitutes truth and falsehoods?
Well, I think the bottom line is that nobody would be good at this job, because no single person is an arbiter of truth or can determine what is true on every single subject. That's why we need open and rigorous debate. That's how truth has been come to for centuries of time. We let people have open discourse. We examine hypotheses. We continue to learn more. I want to find these people. I'm genuinely curious, because I can't even imagine people on the left being the staff. I want to find the people who are looking to the U.S. government to tell them what is disinformation or not. These are the people that told us there were weapons of mass destruction. These are the people who told us we needed to wear a cloth mask over our face for 2 years. These are the people who persecute journalists and whistleblowers who do tell us the truth about their war crimes. Come on. This is the last entity that will ever be able to tell you what is truth, what is not, and I don't care where you fall on the political spectrum. You cannot possibly think that any government, but especially the U.S. federal government, is going to be working to make sure you get the truth in any given situation. The fact that this lady is already on record posting ridiculous conspiracy theories like the Steele dossier and the Russia conspiracy theory, it just kind of like chef's kiss, honestly. Like, what did you anticipate? I mean, obviously they were going to pick somebody on the pretty far left to run this thing, and she's already proven she doesn't have very good judgment, so who can be surprised here?
Juan, she is far from objective. Maybe none of us are objective. Maybe we have to be honest with ourselves about that. Maybe we are in such a realm of subjectivity that no one person can be entrusted with that. Maybe we have to leave it up to the individual to decide for themselves what the facts are. Maybe we have to trust people once again.
Well, I love people, and I love all of you, but I'm going to say, when the bots come and start spreading conspiracy theories and lies, and people say, oh, well, I saw it on the internet, I think we have a problem as a society. So, you know, I agree. You know, I think government is my last choice to do this, but it's a little bit like talking about democracy. You know, every other form of government is pretty bad, but I'll take democracy. Because guess what? There should be somebody to point out, hey, you know what, QAnon? That stuff about pedophiles. Today I was reading about Tom Hanks, and I'm like, you stop. That's just not true.
Yes,
it's icky and it's wrong.
No, but I understand, Juan, and I don't disagree with you. I think there are a lot of falsehoods out there. But to Hannah's point, I don't trust the government because they've been lying to us longer than anyone. And this has nothing to do with party. This is cross-administrational. We've only got a couple seconds, Alex, but I know you can wrap it up beautifully.
Look, I mean, this just goes to show how silly this administration is and how wrapped up in their own bubble that they are. The fact that this woman was even nominated in the first place, not vetted, the fact that, you know, this office was even proposed under Homeland Security. I mean, this is a liberal bubble. This is an MSNBC, you know, audience giveaway from the Biden administration. It has nothing to do with what people really care about right now.
They already gave Jen Psaki to MSNBC. We'll take the truth and leave the government where it is. Alex, Juan, and Hannah, thank you all so much for being here.
Thanks, Kennedy.
Great.
Now, there was a lot of important things said in that clip, especially about the government lying to us endlessly. That being said, Kennedy at the end, towards the end there, was saying that maybe it's not possible for us not to be leaning this way or that way when we're reporting on a story. Maybe it's not possible for us to be unbiased, right? Mox News has been around for more than 10 years, and Mox News' motto from the very beginning was unfair and biased, because Fox News' motto was fair and balanced. So Mox News' motto was unfair and biased. And the reason that I said that is because I don't believe 10 years ago, 12 years ago, I didn't believe that it was possible for anyone to report the news in an unbiased fashion. Meaning we all have our biases, and to somehow act like we're completely able to overlook those in order to report on different subjects, especially political subjects, is probably not true. So Mox News, right up front saying unfair and biased, in my opinion, right from the beginning, that makes Mox News more honest than news that are saying that they're fair and balanced, or news that are saying that the most trusted name in news, because they're liars. And Mox News says right up front, you know, that it's not fair. I'm not fair. I'm here to tear those motherfuckers an asshole. But it's not just those motherfuckers, it's those motherfuckers too. And maybe that's what makes Mox News actually more fair than a news agency that leans to the right or leans to the left, right? Mox News not leaning either direction and basically, you know, showing people that there's no difference, no real difference. That I was doing, you know, knowing that all these other agencies, you know, news agencies, I don't know, there's another name that I'm looking for, but news agencies, knowing that all of them lean this way or lean that way, then there is no fair and balanced. What there is, although the reason that I've been posting so many Fox News videos, clips lately, is because Fox News actually seems to be voicing an alternate opinion from what's being spewed on so-called liberal media. They just seem to all be of like mind, hive-minded. This is the real worry about the censorship of information, as we have seen for a long time, is that there can be no dissenting voice, right? And if there's no dissenting voice, that means that there is no hope, real hope of real information, of viable information, of information that can be trusted, because because information that can be trusted can stand up to a debate, right? If you say, oh, that's disinformation, and you censor it, then there's no debate being had. And the real, the way that I see censorship, the use of censorship throughout time, has been not because, oh, this is ugly or illegal, or hate speech. The use of censorship has always been about protecting this one narrative, making it so there are no other narratives, usually used by corrupt emperors, kings, governments, this censorship thing. We've talked about this for generations and generations. When it comes to, Cuba, when it comes to China, when it comes to all these countries we don't like, oh, they're censoring this, they're censoring that. That shows how evil they must really be. Again, censorship throughout human history has been done by evil empires. And now, not now, it's been going on a long, long time. And I mean, not since, COVID. I mean, since Julian Assange. Julian Assange is in prison for simply trying to share information with the world. He's going to be tried and quite possibly executed by the U.S. government simply for sharing information they don't want shared. Information probably the world needs to know, that they don't want the world to know. That's who the U.S. government is. That's who your disinformation board is going to be, if it ever becomes a reality. My guess is it's just another distraction. What I see happening is all these distractions going on all at once, and then Joe Biden's going to go, I don't know anything, and everybody's going to go, oh, poor Joe Biden has Alzheimer's. Yeah, poor Joe Biden belongs in prison. I don't care if he can put 2 and 2 together or not. He belongs in prison, not the White House. The sooner he's in prison, the sooner the world will be safer for little children. 1 down, 1 million to go. And we have to put all the war profiteers in prison, all the people who support war. There's a lot of confused individuals who support war, and I don't want to, I don't want to group them into people that are profiteering off of killing children, okay, which is a lot of people. And those people, the people in Congress, the politicians who, for the last 22 years, the war on terror, have been profiteering endlessly by voting to put restrictions on your freedom and starting wars around the world. And I'm not just talking about Iraq and Afghanistan and Syria and Yemen and Libya. That's just a few of them that the U.S. has started. You deserve better. Your children, your unborn grandchildren, deserve so much better than these evildoers that are currently in office. And honestly, I would so much rather focus on what amazing thing I saw today, what amazing thing I experienced today, because I think that's important too. That's the reason that I share those things with you. I don't know that the things that I say are being said by others. I hope that they are. I hope that lots of other people are talking about, who makes the world less safe for children, war profiteers or pedophiles. I hope that there's a giant discussion going on about that, because it's incredibly important to put this into perspective. That being said, we do this every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 7 p.m. Pacific time, which means we'll be back on Tuesday, same Mox time, same Mox channel, and until then, find something good to enjoy. Try and do it every day if you can, and realize that that there are things to enjoy. Realize that. Look for it every day, and do your best to enjoy those things, because time is fleeting and madness takes its toll. Tuesday at 7 p.m. Pacific time. Until then, always remember, it's always better when you're here. I mean that. Thanks so much for sharing your valuable time with me. Talk to you Tuesday.
Sometimes life can be a little overwhelming. Sometimes the weight of the world can be too much to bear. Sometimes you need to stop worrying and take a deep breath. Sometimes you need cannabis. Introducing Brightside, high-quality cannabis delivered right to your door. Brightside offers an extensive menu of strains and products to meet your needs. Choose the experience you want, and we'll send you the dankest herb, the real sticky icky, some top-shelf marijuana. If you like what we send you, keep the whole jar. We'll even include some nugs for you to blaze. As part of Discovery, you'll get to try new strains and products. Side effects may include euphoria, increased appetite, uncontrollable giggles, elevated sensitivity to musical dopeness, and reduced anxiety. Tetrahydrocannabinol may also induce feelings of existential well-being and relentless optimism. With a Brightside subscription, you can get it once a month, once a week, or whenever you want, all at a price you'll like. And yes, this is a real company.
Do you know who I am?
You're the wizard.
Ask your doctor if cannabis is right for you. It probably is. Keep it Brightside.
No matter which mouth you feed on a two-headed snake, it still shits the same turd. But lucky for you, you have Mox News. More than 10 years. More than 60,000 videos. Mox News has been filtering the nonsense and illuminating the bullshit from your mainstream media. Turn off your TV and turn on to Mox News. For over a decade, documenting the socio-political events that have etched and carved the pathways that define today's modern mess, Mox News has been providing clarity while faithfully bringing you today's relevant stories 100% commercial-free and subscription-free. And just like Lady Liberty vows to remain free. But at this time, we're asking you for your help, your patronage, and your support to keep the lights on and the videos rolling. For less than 17 cents per day, you can become a basic subscriber, knowing that your donation is truly making a difference that will help continue bringing the news stories that make a difference in your life. Turn on, tune in, and drop a couple dimes today by clicking the link below or visiting moxnews.com and show your support at any level. From a single one-time donation or dedicated monthly subscriber, do it now in less than 2 minutes. All donations are safe, securely processed, and verified using PayPal, Visa, MasterCard, American Express, or Discover Card. As always, we're sure you'll find something of interest each and every day. This holiday season, give the gift of Mox. moxnews.com.
I mean, this coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other. They stay united. I wish the coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other. They stay united. Coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other. They stay united. Coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other. They stay united. Coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other. They stay united. Coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other. They stay united. Coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other. They stay united. Coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other. They stay united. Coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other. They stay united. Coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other. They stay united. Coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other. They stay united. Coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other. They stay united. Coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other. They stay united. Coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other. They stay united. Coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other. They stay united. Coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other. They stay united. Coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other. They stay united.